What I'm not going to do is censor myself and or not talk about the real issues. Okay?
Just you asking that question, you sound ignorant as hell. Because there are plenty black construction workers making 42, less than 42, work hard as hell. Okay?
Work harder.
Chill. See, that's
To not be a victim means to fight. To not be a victim means to have some strength and some courage and some character. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing black men cry about the system. We're seeing black men cry about the lack of education that they're getting and the education that black women are getting.
And that's something that we don't think about when we're on these panels. We're thinking we're talking to a regular guy about a regular subject. Meanwhile, he's seething because he's thinking about all the rejection he's had in his life. And here's a woman that represents that rejection.
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
That's
everybody has a role in the
If
madness.
you're complaining about promiscuous women, stop promoting promiscuous women as desirable women, right?
They're the biggest consumers.
Don't hire. I mean, it's everything. The way that life works, supply and demand.
These are the white men that you all told me to go to their channel, that they're going to bash white women on their channel and talk about them in the way that y'all talk about black women. And I go on their channels and see that they're bashing black men on their channel.
The real question is the black woman ready for this type of leadership? Is she
negated
ready?
everything.
No, I did not. Listen.
Yes, you did.
You're saying I negated it because you don't want to hear that part.
Because there's no point in saying it.
What I'm not going to do is censor myself and or not talk about the real issues. Okay?
just you asking that question, you sound ignorant as hell. Because there are plenty black construction workers making 42, less than 42, work hard as hell. Okay?
Work harder.
Chill. See, that's I can.
To not be a victim means to fight. To not be a victim means to have some strength and some courage and some character. And we're not seeing that. We're seeing black men cry about the system. We're seeing black men cry about the lack of education that they're getting and the education that black women are getting.
And that's something that we don't think about when we're on these panels. We're thinking we're talking to a regular guy about a regular subject. Meanwhile, he's seething because he's thinking about all the rejection he's had in his life. And here's a woman that represents that rejection.
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
That's
Everybody has a role
so
in the
if
madness.
you're complaining about promiscuous women, stop promoting promiscuous women as desirable women, right?
They're the biggest consumers.
Don't hire. I mean, it's everything. The way that life works, supply and demand.
These are the white men that you all told me to go to their channel, that they're going to bash white women on their channel and talk about them in the way that y'all talk about black women. And I go on their channels and see that they're bashing black men on their channel.
The real question is the black woman ready for this type of leadership? Is she
negated
ready?
everything.
No, I did not. Listen.
Yes,
You're saying I negated it because you don't want to hear that part.
Because there's no point in saying it.
Now it's like a conditioning thing and we kind of overlook it. But in the manosphere, in those spaces, they are blatantly disrespectful to black women, like disrespectful. And we continue to make them popular.
We just can't help it. We just keep making them popular. What's up, Freezy?
I'm on moonshine tonight.
Oh, what? First of all, I didn't even know they still made that. What is that? I don't like that's like what they used to make back in the day when they really didn't have the resources of Freezy. That's like a real drink.
Man, you got to come back to Florida.
Because
You got
that's
to
what
come
y'all
back.
do it. That's what we do in Florida. That's it. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
I'm trying to tell
Okay,
you.
so how much? Okay, what percentage is moonshine, Freezy? Because like I feel like that's a pretty decent percentage, right?
Well, the good kind,
Like is it?
because I
Yeah,
don't
like
mess with trash.
right. What you mess with? See the high class
I
stuff,
mess
Freezy.
with the kind that you can pour on the ground and light it up. It'll turn a blue flame. That's that gas.
Uh, so you know that's 99 proof. That's
99 and
98
I
proof.
have.
It's high up there.
Yes.
You gonna get tipsy messing with some moonshine.
Man, I'm old school.
I don't drink heavy like liquor as much as I do wine. Like I'll drink wine more often, but like liquor, it's like, man, that's occasional. That's like when I'm out and it's like a party or
I'm gonna tell you some
something.
crazy shit. Wine do me like that. I can't drink wine like that. Wine to me will put me to sleep. Like it's
It do make you sleepy. It do.
yeah. It get heavy on you.
I like to go to sleep. I'd be like, yes, let me go to sleep because it's like hard to sleep sometimes. But the thing is, like the wine for me, when you start drinking it, like when that's what you drink, it doesn't
Yeah.
do the same thing. Like it does that to people who don't drink it. Like for
Okay.
me, if I have a glass, it's fine. It's not gonna be a
Okay.
bother.
You drink wine with your food too at dinner and all that stuff too?
I do. I do. I'm a
You drink
connoisseur.
you drink wine like
I
Jesus.
like I like Chardonnays. That's my favorite. And I like unoaked Chardonnays. That's what it is. I love dry wine. I don't know why. It's just like,
Oh, you don't like the sweet stuff like
mm-mm, mm-mm.
okay.
I'm a real connoisseur. Like
I
I
see.
love wine. Um,
So you go to like
yeah,
wine tastings and stuff and all that shit.
yeah. Me and Freezy be like talking in the background, y'all. So we trying to continue our conversation. But hey, everybody,
What's up, y'all?
what's up? Don't forget to like this channel. I'm
Like.
sorry, like this video.
That's
Subscribe to
right.
my channel, right?
Subscribe.
Subscribe and come back if you want to see what me and Freezy talking about. We got content, y'all. We're gonna really talk about some stuff
We got
today.
a juicy one tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of juicy. Like people throw this narcissism word around a lot in the YouTube spaces. It just
Yeah.
in general, right? People who are not really clinically qualified, I guess I would say. People who don't have the qualifications. I mean, we tend to label people as narcissists and talk about it. And I mean, I guess there is a lot of content and information about it, right? So you can really learn the characteristics, the traits of a narcissist. You can really look at behaviors and patterns and be like, man, this seems very similar. Um, but I will say this, that we are not licensed professionals. We are really just consumers who read about this information, and we're going to share with you the knowledge that we have. So if you really hear this content and you think that you might be in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist, or you really feel that you yourself are a narcissist and you want to get help, please seek actual professional
No,
help.
all you gotta do is call Freezy. I'm a professional. I'm just saying. I'm gonna tell you if
Freezy, we're
they're a
gonna put
narcissist.
Freezy number. We're gonna pin Freezy number. Y'all gonna call Freezy. Freezy gonna diagnose you and
I'm gonna
everything.
let you know.
But please seek professional help
Yeah, real
because
talk. Yeah.
this is something that you really need to get control of, and I really want y'all to get control of it. So I don't want you to use this and be like, man, Tawana G said that if you have this, you a narcissist. Even though my information comes from the DSM, I really did my research. And so the information that I'm going to share is information that I've researched, talked about, like I am confident in what I'm going to share with you
You worked
guys.
around mental health too, right? before?
I do. I do. I work in a mental health capacity, and
Right.
I have, definitely worked with people who have, mental health issues and concerns. So I am, but I don't. I'm not licensed. You know what I mean. So I
Yeah.
don't talk about those accolades. But yes,
Okay.
I do want to talk and talk about narcissism, and narcissistic personality disorder, because those are two different things. Um, and a lot of people kind of don't know the difference, I guess, so we want to talk about it. um and I'm going to be putting up like key traits of narcissism, because there is 9 key traits that we can look out for, and maybe we could talk about it freezy. But what do you, I guess, what's your kind of understanding of narcissism and narcissistic patterns and behavior?
I know it all. Can't tell your ass shit. You think you is the shit all the damn time. You ain't never did shit wrong. You got a fallacy about your whole life and your whole personality. You think you the shit. You know, instead of letting other people tell you the shit, you're gonna beat people telling, you know, you the shit because you're gonna say it first, which can be misconstrued with. It can be confused with confidence as well. Because a lot of narcissistic people, to me, they have told me that you just hating on my confidence. You just don't know what confidence
Mm.
is.
See, because they think that they're confident, but confidence is a positive
Right.
thing, right? Like narcissism it's pervasive. It's like this inflated sense of self. It's not just like, oh, I'm confident, because confident people don't have to really yell it out loud. They don't have to wear a sign on their forehead. They don't have to be on
No.
social media like constantly seeking validation or things like that. Like a confident person is different from a narcissist, right? Because a
Yeah.
narcissist, and they need that validation. They
Yeah.
need people on social media to like back them up, support them. They need like a team of people who kind of like are praising them and worshiping them. It's like
Yeah.
they feed off that energy a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A confident person isn't toxic.
Right.
It's a difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
Narcissism, just narcissism or being narcissistic, it's not a personality disorder. you know um it's a pattern, a collection of traits, right? And so those people who are narcissistic, they're not diagnosed because they refuse to acknowledge their behavior, right? They don't, like you said, Freezy, they tell you, I'm just confident, because they really don't acknowledge. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. they
Right.
don't they don't they don't see their behavior as negative or
They
narcissistic.
just think you hating on them.
They
That's
just think
all.
you hating. They just think you hating. And
Yeah.
that's the problem with narcissists. They really have to, and so the narcissistic personality disorder, it's an actual disorder, but
Yeah.
those people have admitted, hey, something's wrong with me, right? Like there's a long list of patterns that these that they display, right? But it messes up their life, and it's almost like they become like uncomfortable with everything that's going on in their life. It
Yeah.
causes a lot of discomfort and distress, and they've accepted like something's wrong. My behavior, my pattern, something's wrong. And so there's a difference between people who have been diagnosed with the disorder and people who are just narcissists who have not accepted that they're narcissists, right? And
Yeah.
those are the scary people.
What?
Even though
Who's it?
both are maybe scary, but
Okay.
the ones that just don't even know that like they don't know that they got these problems, and they don't know that they are narcissists. That's a huge problem. That's what we need to talk about.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you something. The gaslighting to me is the most dangerous trait of a narcissist.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about the 9 key traits of a narcissist, okay? And everyone who's coming in, thank you guys so much for joining. Go ahead and
Yes.
like the video. Please, please, please subscribe. And don't forget to comment afterward, because commenting helps to bring more people to the channel. So thank you guys so much. We're going to get into the 9 key traits of being a narcissist. And you know what, Freezy? Hello, M. Rochelle. How are you? Hey, 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 girl. You talked about one of them, Freezy, but let's go in order because I really want
Let's
to
go in order. I'm jumping the gun.
I want to talk. Yeah, because that's definitely one. Like Freezy, that's gaslighting is one. Like that. Come on. But let me go to my. So the first one is a lack of empathy. Okay. So
Yes.
most narcissists have this trait because for all of the articles that I've read and all in the even the DSM, this is the prominent one. This is like most narcissists display this type of behavior.
Right.
It's really the inability to identify or recognize the experience and feelings of other people.
Right.
So you really just don't have any compassion for other people and what they're going through. What do you think about that? Because like most people in this that's narcissistic, they have this trait, the lack of empathy. Have you seen somebody to just have a like extremely high
Yeah,
lack of
because
empathy?
because if they find it hard to actually show consideration for others
Right.
other than themselves, so
Exactly.
it's if it's not about them, it ain't about nothing.
Everything is about them. You're right.
Yeah.
That's right on the money. Like is about them. From a basic perspective, a narcissist does not care. They don't
No.
care how other people feel.
No.
And they rarely consider other people's feelings in their actions.
And I don't even know if they actually can identify with other people's issues or whatnot. Maybe they
Right.
do. They just refuse to acknowledge that
Is
they
it like they
identify.
extremely detached from emotions? Like they don't really have emotions or understand emotions the way that like most
Well,
of us do,
I
I
think
guess.
they are afraid of, if the other person getting too much of a spotlight, this imaginary
Mm,
spotlight that they also want all the time. They want the spotlight. So if another person is going through something and everybody is consoling that person, and you see, it's time for the narcissist to console you. The narcissist is probably going to feel like, man, I'm not going to give them any attention. I'm not going to give them any attention. They just want to feel special. I'm the special one.
I'm the one. Pay
I'm the
attention to
one.
me.
Pay
I'm the
attention to
important
me.
person. Right.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
say a lot of mean comments, like offhanded comments in a matter, and then they're oblivious to like how it makes other people feel. Even
Yeah.
either they oblivious to it or they really just they could care less if you hurt about it. Right. They say the most hurtful, hateful things.
Yeah.
Um, and they really don't care.
No, they don't care um because they're insensitive. They don't want it's to me it's all about you being better than them in any category, whether it's
Mhm.
attention, skill, no matter what it is, intellect. I mean, a narcissist can be the dumbest person in the room, but they will present themselves like everybody needs to listen to them,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
So they say that it's not really unusual for them to just kind of be in like this one-way discussion, right?
Yeah.
About what they're doing. And they really could care less about how other people feel or other people's opinions. Is really just kind of to get validation and to seek validation from others. But yeah, they like to engage in kind of this one-way discussion so they can get people to kind of buy into their side.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
it's
because it's all about perception.
yeah,
They really do care about how people perceive them, and they're going to try to get this extreme perception of them by
right.
any means necessary.
It's
They
really
don't care about your feelings. They don't care about anyone but themselves. I mean, I'm talking about even their wife. They could be
yeah,
married.
yeah.
You know, it's all
It's
about
people in
them.
relationship with them, even if it's just like a work relationship or if
Yeah.
it's like a friend or if it's like they that really suffer because of people that like being friends with a narcissist who really has a lack of empathy. That's one of the consistent traits that most narcissists possess. They
Yeah.
possess this lack of empathy. The next one is a sense of entitlement. So for them, it feels like they deserve this special treatment. Even if it's to the detriment of others, they could care less, right? They believe that they are different from everybody else and therefore deserve to be treated special.
Right.
So it's like another key trait of narcissism. And there's 9 of these traits. Just for people who are just tuning in, it's 9 of these traits that really embody what a narcissist is. And I'm going to go to the next one. It's this grandiose sense of self-importance.
See, we just talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
It's like an unrealistic assessment of their abilities. It's
and
it's
you know
almost like
what?
a fantasy version, like of the world, like a fantasy.
You know what be the worst? It be those ugly MFers. I'm talking about the ugly MFers that just walk in the room like they the most gorgeous person in the room. You can't tell them they
Yeah.
not the prettiest or the handsomest person in the room. I kind of envy that shit too a little bit. It is a little sense of, it's kind of like confidence too, but it's over the top. It's like unrealistic.
It's really like it's super unrealistic. And that's
Yeah.
that's what makes it narcissism, right? Because it's okay to be confident. It's okay to feel good about yourself.
Yeah,
But
man.
when it's like this extremely like unrealistic, almost like a fantasy, like
Yeah.
something like, oh, I can't wait to climb this mountain, but you've never even done it before, or you're not even planning to do it. It's like you're creating some kind of perception of
It's like
yourself
it's
that's not
all a
true.
fallacy,
It's
you
all
know?
fallacy. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I just want people to believe that that's what I'm like, but not really. That's not really who I am.
And
You
they
know what
start
I'm
believing
saying?
their own lies too. That's how intense it gets.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said she says, M. Rochelle said, is there a history of abandonment seen in narcissists?
That's a good
You know
question.
what? I didn't see that all of them possess a history of abandonment. Mostly it's social constructs that they feel like contribute to it. It's
Yeah.
mostly because especially men, right? Not that only men are narcissists, but especially men tend to be told not to process their emotions, not to think, like not to have empathy or not to really understand how to process those emotions because it's not seen as manly.
Right.
And so then that therefore a lot of those social constructs that we put on gender and men creates these traits. Is from what I understand. I mean, obviously some of them do suffer from abandonment, right? Some of them do have other issues with parents and but
Yeah.
it's mostly that back and forth where you in private you're mean, you're crazy, you're angry, but then in public you can present very normal and charming and you can come off as a good person. It's like that it's like that bipolar behavior
I
that
was just thinking that.
yeah that narcissists they are great at doing that.
Yeah.
Hey black man unfiltered, hey Reese from Philly. Hey y'all. Hey Haran. What's up? What's up?
Yo.
Yes, yes. Hello. Talking about narcissism, like you guys, yeah, you guys chime in on this.
Yeah. It's
It's a
deep.
really a lot to it. But let's go to number 4. These are some of the traits, like some of the key traits, and this is from DSM, from all these different sources, and a lot of people who kind of are dedicated to the study of narcissism
Right.
agree with some of these characteristics that actually create a narcissistic personality disorder or just a narcissist in general. Superficiality, so it's like a person who really is just only concerned about their appearance and how that person looks, what they own, what they wear, what they drive, it's really just no depth to them. They're judging people based on superficial factors.
Yeah. They'll go broke.
Um
They'll go broke trying to look like this.
yeah.
And you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They will put out this perception like they're in a certain type of financial class or status, but like you said, behind closed doors, they're struggling to pay the bills.
Right. Right. Like it's that deep need to present
Yes, for
um
validation.
the perception. They want other people to see them a certain way. And it's
Yes.
like they will stop at nothing for people to be able, to see them that way, right?
Yeah.
There's also this deep need for excessive attention and admiration. So it's like a chronic seeking of admiration, receiving praise, recognition. And social media have really messed people up because it's really contributed to people really feeling like they need the likes, they need the attention,
That's true.
they want people to follow them and subscribe, and like they're begging for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's this just chronic admiration, and seeking admiration from people.
Yeah. That's what drives social media though. So it's kind of that's a hard one right there.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
See, but that alone doesn't make you a narcissist, right? It's
Right.
the fact that you have a lack of empathy. You have your superficiality. You have this grandiosity. You
Yeah.
have entitlement. So, like, you have a combination of these traits. That's what makes you a narcissist.
Right.
Because just being entitled doesn't make you a narcissist, right? Like,
Right.
just maybe having a lack of empathy, because to some degree all of the experts agree that like that lack of empathy is a consistent thing that kind of follow people. It follow narcissistic people.
Right.
Most narcissists, they have a lack of empathy, and it's one of those traits that is consistent among them all. But everything else is kind of like I don't know. It's alone. It doesn't mean you're a narcissist. That's why I tell people like don't diagnose people based on what you read on the internet. You
Yeah.
need what if you really think that you're dating a narcissist, right? Like if these characteristics really resonate with you, then y'all need to go to therapy and like seek real therapy. And even that person needs to seek therapy and really determine if that person is a true narcissist,
If
right?
you
Or
if you married to him,
if you're married to them, right?
but if you ain't, you need to leave. You need to run.
You gotta run. You gotta like it ain't even worth it. Even if they only got two of the three, even if they only got two of the nine,
What?
I don't know. I don't want to deal with them because that's it's like I don't have time for that narcissistic shit. It's just too much. It's too much.
No, because if you let's break down to the core of narcissism.
Yeah.
It's meant to narcissism is meant to uh kind of overpower everyone, all the people that they're dealing with, to have power over
Right.
this person. And
Right.
if it means tearing you down just to build my self-esteem up by any means, that's what's going to happen. They're
Right.
not going to stop. They're not going to stop at your feelings or your emotions. They don't care. They're going to assassinate everything if what you are presenting and who you are as a person is threatening their persona, their facade. They're gonna get rid of you. They're gonna attack you. They're gonna chop you down to size emotionally, psychologically. They
So if
need to
you're
get
with a
rid of that shit.
narcissist or someone you believe to be a narcissist, it's especially if you're not married, you don't have no kids, no ties to them, it's good to
Yeah.
get out of that relationship. And actually, I'm going to talk about some ways in which you can really deal with
Well, that's why
narcissists.
that's why this show is good, because a lot of people don't even know how to identify a
Yes.
narcissist.
Yes. And these traits are traits that like I said, have researched. These are consistent among experts and people who really study narcissistic behavior and traits. So I
Yeah.
really want you guys to pay attention to some of these traits. And the next one is the tendency to rage. And that means that the person really no command over their emotion. They have this uncontrolled rage. And it's really often because they're insecure and they don't know how to deal with their feelings.
They get mad when you tell them they aren't better than somebody else. Somebody else
Right.
is more skilled than them or more
Yeah.
talented. They get very angry. Angry, very angry.
Yeah, they don't you can tell when you're dealing with a narcissist, when they have this inability to really process basic emotions. You're like,
They
what
can't
is
take
going on?
constructive criticism.
They can't. They can't. It's really, and it's often different from just like oh, maybe that criticism was a little harsh for me and maybe I felt sad about it. No, the reaction is really elevated. It's almost unnatural the way they react to criticism, like you said,
Yeah.
or in the rage it's really uncalled for. It's like a, a really dramatic way to respond to a situation. It's
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, did you have to shoot her because she said that? Like they do the most extreme things, for something
Yeah.
that's really and Rochelle said, yes, the rage is very abusive. Hey Mahogany and Roots, go to her channel and subscribe. I really love her content. I actually did an interview with her not too long ago. It was just a great interview. But go to Mahogany and Roots and subscribe to her channel, y'all, and support us. Like, support us content creators. We be out here in these YouTube streets, like, trying to help y'all, give y'all some knowledge. So please go support her channel. She does have a really good channel, and I like to hear her perspective. But yeah, that they have a tendency to rage. That's also, like, that's the sixth trait of a narcissist. I mean, seven is clear, manipulative. I mean,
That's
duh.
the most obvious one right
Yeah,
there.
like, they all manipulative. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's hard because, Freezy, I don't want to say this, but a lot of men are manipulative though. Like, that's what y'all do. Like,
You really want to go there, Tawana?
I'm saying, Freezy, that's what y'all do though. Like, y'all manipulate.
You
Okay,
think
go ahead, Freezy. I'm gonna let.
you think men are better at manipulation than women?
Hell yeah.
No.
Hell yeah. I mean, women are smarter in a sense of they can multitask better than men.
There you
They
go.
tend to we're forward thinkers, so we tend to kind of cover all of our tracks. Like, okay, what
There
about this?
you
What
you
about that?
answering the question.
Yeah, but men are very manipulative.
Yeah,
Because
but men,
let me
yeah,
tell you what y'all do. Like, if I'm questioning, like, let's say I'm questioning you, like,
yeah.
you was out late at night, who you with and what you doing? Like, well, you was out yesterday. What was you doing? Like, no, I was not out yesterday. And why didn't you address that yesterday? Like, no, yes, you was. You claimed you was at the store. You could have been somewhere else. Like, seriously. So now they try to flip the conversation because they stayed out late. Now it's about me going to
It's
the
called
grocery
beating
store.
you get mad. That's what you're saying. That's what it called in the hood.
That's what I'm saying. So y'all all are manipulative. So it's hard because some of the narcissist traits, men, a lot of y'all have some of these traits. So yeah, we got to figure out how to determine between just how men act and narcissistic behavior. That's all I'm saying.
You
That's,
trying to
that's
connect the
all I'm saying,
dots?
Freezy. No, Reese, I don't have a super chat yet. I have to get 1,000
Yeah.
subscribers to have a super chat. I got
That's why we
everything
need
else.
y'all to like and share these
That's
videos and
right.
stuff.
That's right. I need my thousands of subs or whatever. So once
Yeah.
I get my 1,000 subs, then I'm gonna have super chat. And guess what? That's all I need because I have the watch hours. I have all of the other things that's needed to be monetized. I just don't have the subs. But I am going to just be patient because I want the right subs. I want the people who support me, who gonna have my back, who gonna jump on live when I'm live, who
That's
gonna do
right.
that. Like, I want the right subs. So everything's gonna come to me when it needs to come to me because I believe in the law of attraction. I do. I believe in it. Um, so yeah, so manipulation, of course, manipulation is the seventh trait of a narcissist. Okay. And then
Mhm.
we have projection. A person who projects is such a narcissistic behavior. That's such narcissistic behavior. And I'm not saying that alone is narcissistic, but people who are self-absorbed person who accuse someone of doing what they are doing or will call out their flaws and fears in someone else. That's what they do, right? So they will act like you're doing something. Hey, Haran.
Hey,
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
up,
Hello.
Ron?
Welcome.
Oh, I just wanted to comment on your last statement in terms of men are more manipulative than women. Just keep in mind that
All
just
right, come
just
on,
um
Haran. Go ahead, get
just
me.
keep in mind that Delilah, she manipulated Samson. You know what I mean? That is a very strong example of how one of the most
We did
strongest
went
and
back to the
powerful,
Bible, so y'all gonna go
oh,
to the
that the
Bible.
most
Oh,
one
it's a
of the
lot of
one of
stories in
the
the Bible.
well, I mean, I am agnostic, but I will tell you something. One of the best stories and the best examples of life can be found in the Bible.
Oh yeah.
None of that stuff changes, man.
Oh yeah.
You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Listen, I
Just
can name some real life people today where the men didn't manipulate the women. We got to go back to the
okay.
BC. Okay.
Oh, before you continue, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna wait for you to continue all of your numbers
Yeah,
before
all of the
I
traits. Because I'm
yeah.
on 8. I'm on 8. What do you guys think
Right.
about the projection though? Projection as a narcissistic trait. Do you agree? Like, I guess it's not a matter of agree because this is kind of what the experts are saying are kind of I guess prominent traits of a narcissistic person. How do
Well,
you feel
yeah.
about the
Well,
projection?
the root of it is severe insecurity, right? So they, in order to get this guilty feeling off of them, knowing that they are guilty of being this way, being that way, they're afraid of of it being revealed. So before it can be revealed, they will really deflect and onto somebody else to put the see the whole thing about narcissists, that the spotlight can be on somebody else as long as it's negative. If it's negativity, they will willingly put the spotlight on somebody else.
Right, right.
Even though
Doesn't it feed them? It feeds
yeah,
their their
everything
narcissism a little bit.
listen, the only thing that they want attached to them is positivity, praise, uh, you know, just value. That's all they want attached to them. They don't want they don't want flaws. They don't want any of that, criticism. They don't want that because it takes away from their uh perfectness,
That's right. That's right. Then
you
people
know.
can start to see things about them that's not right
Yeah.
because they're always constantly afraid that people are going to see their flaws and insecurities and like the things that they really suffer with. They're always afraid of that. What do you think, Haran, about that whole idea of projection? And shout out to Joanna. You're right, Joanna. I am super grateful for all of the support and subs that I currently have, and you guys are great. My community is great, and I appreciate you, and so I appreciate that, Joanna, and what you just said.
That's right.
But go ahead, Haran. What did you?
Oh, absolutely. To piggyback off what Freezy was saying, definitely. What it all boils down to just a knee jerk unwillingness to hold oneself accountable.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Narcissists, they don't like that's like rule number one. Lie, 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 deny. That's it. You know what I mean?
That's the
That's the
that's
move to
the
everything.
easiest thing. Hmm.
That's the cheat code. You know what I mean? And we also have to keep in mind too that there are three elements of this. There's narcissists, there's sociopaths, and there's psychopaths. All of them, are different within themselves. There's some overlap between a few of them. I believe with psychopaths, one of the main things that is needs to be addressed is that psychopaths are actually born. Like these people are literally, born. Physiologically, they're incapable of empathy. They're incapable of a number of things, and
Mm.
they share a number of the traits that you're discussing. So, sociopaths, you would necessarily sociopaths are more or less forged. I guess there might be an argument for nature versus nurture, but sociopaths, they're more or less, I mean, created under certain conditions. Some might even say maybe out of maybe out of a need to survive. You know what I mean? Some people become sociopaths and detach themselves from their emotions or detach themselves from their humanity in a sense, just to survive in the environment that they're in. You
Yeah.
know, they have a an argument can be actually said that I've actually seen dudes who were, pretty cool going into prison, but after about 10 years, 10, 15 years, when they come out, they're completely different people because of the conditions in which they had to survive under, and natural things that you and I might consider in terms of being empathetic towards a particular situation. They can't connect with that.
And you know what? We talked about
Yeah.
empathy earlier, right? Lack of empathy, right?
Yeah. Lack
We
of
can
empathy. That's the one trait that all of the experts agreed most narcissists possess. That lack of empathy. They
okay.
all have that.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to connect lack of empathy with with projection, right? They will pr- project things on other people without feeling guilt or shame about it. They will do it relentlessly without feeling guilty or shame about it. That's why some of these traits that you're naming can actually be connected and conjoined with one another, because when narcissistic people project on other people, they don't even do it with any type of regret. As long as they get the job done, of tearing you down, making you feel less than them, job was well done, and it actually probably it gives them a high. One down, a million more to go.
Definitely, definitely. I agree. Hey AJ, we're gonna talk about TI next. I definitely wants to talk about TI. Do we think TI is a damn narcissist? Okay, we're gonna talk about that. Hey AJ, how are you? Hello, everybody. Welcome. Don't forget to like this video when you're coming in. We're talking about the 9 key traits of a narcissist, and we're on number
Um,
8. The last one, Freezy had already talked about this, and this was the gaslighting. Like Freezy was
Listen,
like, he was on the so I'm gonna let you go ahead, Freezy, because you was kind of on a roll with that, like the gaslighting with a
let me tell you
narcissist.
something. If this is a public service announcement, anybody that's looking at this video, that's in the chat, that will look at it later on, if you run into somebody, this doesn't even have to be a narcissist. A person that gaslights you, run the hell away from this person, because these type of people are some of the worst people. They will mess with your mind. I'm telling you, they will make you feel like you are actually guilty of something when you're actually not. They will play mind games with you. They will make you feel like you're off your square mentally. Like, damn, am I going crazy or what? Am I losing it? They will make you unsure of yourself. And that is a clear path to destruction.
Yes. It's really like they try to make you question your own reality.
I'm telling you.
It's they invalidate or deny like your emotions.
Yes.
So hopefully my is it going slow, y'all? I don't know what's going on with my internet. They also
Nah,
try
you
to
good.
minimize your feelings, and they deny that something actually occurred. Have you ever like talked to a narcissist that really will say, like, no, that never happened. You're you're completely off. Like, yes, you did. You did choke me in the bathroom yesterday. No, I didn't choke you. You're lying. Like they will literally pretend like they've never done whatever it is.
Yeah. And they'll
And
look at you like you crazy.
they look at you like you're crazy. And it's super confusing and it's isolating. And a lot of the people who go through this gaslighting stuff, they end up like kind of questioning their own reality. Like, oh, is this real? Like maybe I didn't see what I thought I saw. Maybe something's not quite right with me, right? So it's like it's this sense of like not really understanding. Um these traits, okay? And so I want to remind everybody these are 9 key traits, okay? A lack of empathy for others, a sense of entitlement, a grandiose sense of self-importance, superficiality, the deep need for excessive attention and admiration, the tendency to rage, right? To go off uncontrolled emotions. They're manipulative, they're manipulating, projection. And then last but not least is this gaslighting. Okay. And remember, the DSM says that out of the 9 traits, that a person must possess at least 5 of these traits in order to be considered a narcissist.
Shit, I done
Right.
met a lot of narcissists then.
Yeah. So at least 5, guys. And it needs to be pervasive. Don't just accuse people of being a narcissist because they do this,
Somebody
right?
ain't call you back. Somebody
Yeah,
text you
somebody they call
back.
you back. That is narcissist.
A damn
Make sure.
narcissist.
And this is not an exhaustive list. There are many characteristics. Arrogance, never take responsibility, jealousy, envy, and getting pleasure off of other people's misery, you guys.
Yes.
Lying. Um, Narcs will accuse you of something that they did. Okay. They will say, you are the reason why this is happening. Maybe they truly believe it, maybe they don't, right? They have this manipulation tactic that they use. And it could be a combination of different traits. Every narcissist has a combination of different traits. And so that's what makes this so complicated. And it's actually hard for even professionals to diagnose, you guys.
And
Go ahead.
I know it's not on the list, but another trait that I've noticed about narcissists, they have a need to be admired all the time. They they they
I,
they they're addicted to admiration. They need it for themselves all the time. Go ahead,
I think
Haroon. I'm sorry.
I think depending on the circumstance, I think we're very supportive and very we put narcissists on a pedestal depending on the circumstance. Kanye West, for example, he exhibits many of the traits that you're actually discussing. Nobody comes for him. It's just all right. He just being Kanye. Like no, he's not being just Kanye. He's exhibiting a number of those traits that you're discussing right now. Now, when you're a successful narcissist, when you're a successful sociopath, people tend to look the other way.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there are a number of psychopaths are CEOs
Sorry, y'all. Yeah.
of companies, and Donald Trump is a narcissist, and he for 4 years we were told that this man was the archetype of masculinity, and he should be followed, and this is what we needed, you know what I mean, in the White House, and so on and so forth. So, are we that are we that adamant about disparaging narcissists,
But
or are
listen,
we willing to
Haran,
look the other way in
you
terms of what their situation is?
Haran, you actually I was gonna bring this up later on the show, but you just pointed it out. You hit it right on the head. And I actually seen a study that narcissists are actually more successful in business than just, nice guys or nice people,
Yeah.
considerate people. Narcissists are more successful in business on an average.
Look, listen. Okay, let's just put it like this. Let's just put the scenario like this, and this might sound ugly to you or everyone in the chat. If you take a wolf and a dog, and you put them both out in the wild, who you think is gonna die first?
My damn dog, Smokey, I got you, Smokey. Don't trip, man.
And why Smokey gonna die first, man?
He a house dog. He ain't he ain't ready
And
for
he
that
ain't
shit.
exactly. He ain't ready for that kind of smoke, man. He ain't ready for what he
Nah.
gonna have to do in order to survive out there. The
Yeah, you
wolf,
make a good
he
point,
ready.
man.
He ready. He built for that. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, in order to be, they say behind every fortune is a crime. Yeah, behind every fortune is a crime, because in order to be worth $1 billion, you're gonna have to do something or be a part of something that would make most people say, "Oh no, that's wrong. I can never do such a thing." Look, listen. America itself is a concept and an idea built on murder incorporated. That's it. Okay, we spend so much money on defenses and guns more than education because at the end of the day we need to let other countries know that at any given time we will enact a severe amount of unspeakable violence onto you if we so choose to, and that is why we remain in power. And yeah, that's why a lot of narcissists, more so psychopaths, remain in power because they will do whatever is necessary
Yeah, they
in
will.
in
But
order
you know
to.
what? You know what the experts say, Haran, that it's almost necessary to have these qualities to be in the business world, or like you
Yes,
said, it's
yes.
almost like it's promoted, right? Because even me, I'm a manager, right? Like I manage staff.
Hmm.
um Sometimes they will tell me like not to, like, to have a lack of empathy for people, right? Like to not consider how people feel, do what's you do what's best for the company, or you do what's best for you, and you really should not give a damn how those people feel. And I mean, it's not it's almost taught to you when you're in management to disconnect from people and their emotions. You're actually taught a lot of the like a lot of these behaviors that I'm listening to. You're taught a lot of these behaviors. I mean, not manipulation, not superficiality,
You have to
but
have empathy as a boss, though, right?
y-
Sometimes.
you have to have empathy to a certain degree,
Okay.
right? If you want to be a good leader, you need empathy, right? We all know that, right? But it's almost when you're in corporate, the more aggressive you are, the more like direct you
Effective.
are, you're that's actually kind of appreciated more in corporate than when you're kind of agreeable and understanding and empathetic. You often get staff who don't really respect you and or value
So is it fair that men should be expected to have more of a degree of these qualities than women in
Absolutely,
society?
absolutely, absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely. Because
y'all do have them. But
but listen,
it's not it so it's estimated to be 10 to 15% of men possess this. So it's not like a huge percentage, right?
Hmm.
But it's enough to make psychopaths and stuff like that, like Haran says, psychopaths and sociopaths in this world. It's enough to affect other people in relationships, interpersonal relationships for sure. It's enough to like really have an impact on people. And now it's growing in popularity where people are starting to try to understand these traits because they're going through all of this stuff in their marriages and their relationships and in their kids and their parents and all these different traits that they're starting to recognize, like, oh my god, like I've been in this narcissistic situation my whole life. Maybe I've really been dealing with people who have these traits, and I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know where to go. A lot of people
well,
are really confused. Go ahead.
here's the thing. To speak on what Freezy said, Freezy, absolutely. Look, man, I'm a traditionalist in certain sense. In a certain sense, I have some liberal ideas, but I'm a traditionalist in a lot of ways. Look, as a man, part of me in the head of the household means that at some point in time, you're going to have to make the uncomfortable decisions in order to protect your family. Okay, if there's a
Most definitely.
if it's 2 a.m. in the morning and there's a bump and you hear a bump downstairs, you're gonna have to go down there, man. And if you go down there, you have to be prepared to
Kill.
do probably what needs to
Oh, I
be
can't say
done.
that word. I'm sorry.
No, to to delete if that is if that
Delete.
if that needs to happen. Because at the end of the day, like, look, man, you got your family in there. You have your family, you have your children in there. Not saying that you're going to have to do that, but what I'm saying is that you have to be prepared to protect your family at
Right,
all
right, right, right.
times, at any given time. You know what I mean? You can't hesitate when you put yourself on the front line of anything.
Right.
Otherwise, if you feel that you're the type of person who hesitates, then get off the front line, man. It's not for everybody. I'm not saying everybody should do it. Every man is built for that. Look, listen, I know a brother, good dude, man, good guy, but that's really his problem. He's too much of a good guy. You know what I mean? He has a little bit too much empathy. He doesn't know sometimes that at sometimes in one's life, you do have to pull the trigger, man. You do have to do things to protect yourself or your family.
Right.
Life is not as clean cut as
I-
we would like
is
it to
that
be.
this is
Go ahead, Free.
is that the same thing as having an exaggerated sense of self though?
Right.
No,
Because
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at
right.
all. But a lot of people would sit here and say that if they weren't in your situation, they would say, "Well, you should have did that. I wouldn't have did that. You're a horrible person. You went down there and you killed that person. You could have called the police. You could have did this. You could have did that." A lot of people like to be self-righteous.
Yeah.
You
Right,
know what I mean?
right,
And
right, right, right.
self-righteousness is a form of gaslighting, ironically.
It
I
is.
mean,
It is.
I tend to stay away from self-righteous people because look, man, let me tell you something. I try not to judge people because I done been there when things got smoky, homie. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I can't sit here and say what somebody should have did or shouldn't have did. The only thing I tell people is that just make sure you come home, and that's it. And don't
Right.
tell me about it because I don't want nobody asking me questions.
So, there's a thing called communal narcissist, and those are these self-righteous people, right? The people who have this need to present as like a humanitarian, as like a self-righteous, like they do all these things for validation. So it's also a form of narcissism to be like that, right? And then those individuals can engage in gaslighting, like you said, to make you feel like, to make you question your reality. In a
Yeah, the mob.
Yeah.
A lot of times it'll be like some people call it the woke mob. It'll be other mobs, you know what I mean? They like throw little names around, but I try not to judge people, man, because look, look, when it comes to one's humanity, when it comes to self-preservation, you don't really know what you're gonna do if your back is against the wall and you're trying to go home and see your family, man. You don't really know what you're fully
Yeah, and but
capable
that
of.
don't make you a narcissist, in my
No, it
opinion,
does
because
not. No, it does not.
you have it's the pattern, right? It's the
Hmm.
pattern of, and it's the combination of traits that kind of makes you a narcissistic person.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if you're defending your family, or you have a
Right,
position, we all human, we all engage in certain
Yeah, that's
behaviors at
expected.
certain
right,
point. Right, it's
right.
expected. But at the core, I'm a good person. At the core, like, I have empathy for people. I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I really, like, I have a good intentions with people. I don't just think about myself above everyone else. Like, I really think about others and how they feel and how this is going to affect other people. And
I
so
I can see in
some
your
people
eyes and
don't.
that you are correct in that. I can believe you and look in your eyes. Now, look, listen. Some people. I think Jen and I have a we agree on this. I think that we have laws and we have things like the Bible for a reason. I think that most people are prone to narcissism and evil doing if there are not consequences in play.
Wow.
A lot of people are quote unquote moral and believe that, oh no, I'm not a narcissist, I'm not this, that, and the third, because they understand that there's a consequence on the other side. Now, there's some people who
So
are
people only behaving because they think they're gonna get locked up, or something bad's gonna happen to them if they do.
absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely. Most people, yeah. Look, listen. Look, listen, I ask people all the time. Sometimes I ask people just to see where their head's at. I was like, if you had a superpower, what would you have? Would you choose invisibility or would you choose flight? And most people would choose the people that I asked, they chose invisibility. That makes me think like, oh, okay, so you would choose the actual ability to walk around when nobody has no clue what you're doing, rather than actually fly through the world. People might see you and so on and so forth. You would rather go through life being undetected. Why would you want to do that? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So another thing too, you know what I mean, a little point I just want to say, a lot of people aren't necessarily, let's like, from my perspective, and this is how I view things. I think that a lot of people don't necessarily believe in God. I think a lot of people just believe in
You
hell.
you hit it right on the head, right there.
You, you
Go
know what
ahead.
I
I don't
mean?
mean to stop you,
And
but you
no, no,
cooking
no,
right
no,
now.
no, no. It's like like I said, I don't think that a lot of people necessarily believe in God. They believe in hell. They're afraid of hell. So it's not necessarily to say that to take that and apply it to what you're saying. I don't think a lot of people necessarily aren't, I mean, they don't necessarily have the components that you just said or the propensity to do the things that you just said.
Yeah.
No, I think that a lot of people maybe are just a little bit more fearful than the other guy who says, you know what, I know all these things are going to happen, but fuck it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway. You know what
But
I mean?
but can we talk about narcissists? So here's the thing.
Hmm.
A lot of people think that they can spot a narcissist because they're just going to be somebody that's really strange, weird, or
No, no.
introverted, or
I
somebody
can
that you
spot one.
can immediately identify as like, hey, he's a weirdo. No, they are extremely charming.
Yeah.
They are
You know
gracious.
how
They
you
can
know how I can
present
spot one?
themselves. Go ahead,
You know
Haran.
how I can spot one?
Gabrielle Union.
All right, I can. It's hard
No,
to
you
put the
did
wool
not
over
name
my
no
eyes.
Gabrielle Union. Did he say
It's
you
hard to
gonna
pull the
call that
wool.
woman a narcissist?
We'll get into it. We're gonna get
Okay, we're
into
gonna
it.
get into
I
it.
know
I
you want
got
to
to
talk
hear.
about the manosphere anyway, so
I got to
go.
hear this. I'm always gonna center it on y'all, and then I know how y'all flip the script. You know what I'm saying? I know how that happens, but I'm gonna
I
center it on men because y'all problematic. You know what I'm saying, Freezy? I'm sorry, y'all just are. I don't know how to tell you. No,
I'll
We're gonna
share
get
something
into it.
personal. I'll share something personal with you guys. It's hard to pull the wool over my eyes in that area because I know a psychopath when I see one. My father was one. You know what I mean? And my father was extremely charming. Like you would never know. A brilliant man, genius level IQ. He was an accountant for Price Waterhouse in the 80s. You know what I mean? And he was, yeah, everything you just said right there, what they, what I mean, what they exhibit. He
can I
exhibited
ask
that.
you this,
It's that
Haran? I'm sorry.
that
Can I ask you this, Haran? Was he
that
diagnosed, or was he just he didn't accept that he was an actual?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't diagnosed. Back then, it was
Wasn't
the
okay.
'80s.
They
Ain't
weren't
nobody get
diagnosing it.
diagnosed.
Yeah, right.
No, no, it wasn't. Especially black people. We wasn't. It was just that nigga's crazy.
We still
Excuse
scared.
me.
That
We
nigga
still scared
crazy.
of mental health. We still scared. In 2022, we
Exactly.
still scared. Yeah.
Exactly. But I know one when I see one. Most of them. Let me tell you something.
Hey,
Most of them,
Joanna. Hello,
if you
hello,
can spot,
welcome.
if you can spot something, if you can spot certain things that are genuine and are fake, if you know how to spot that, then you can necessarily spot a psychopath or narcissist, because psychopaths particularly, they learn how to be charismatic, they learn how to laugh at certain things, they learn social cues, they learn how to assimilate themselves into society, and in many ways they get people, they get these minions around them, and they'll have people enacting their ideas. There's a certain thing called the Dushin smile, and it's very hard to mimic that because it's a genuine smile. Like the muscles of your face actually, when you're producing this kind of smile, you actually have to find something actually humorous. It's extremely difficult to actually pull that off, if not impossible to pull that off if you try to mimic that. But most people see that right there is not the smile that I'm discussing. that Freezy is doing. That if
That's a
somebody do
genuine
some,
smile. That's a
that's
genuine
not a
smile. That's
genuine.
not.
That is not, that no. That's a Freezy. That's an exaggerated smile. You know what I mean? if if he did something like that to me, and I told a joke, I was like, "Come on now, bro, you ain't got to do me like that." You know what I mean?
Would you call Freezy a narcissist? Is that what you're saying?
No,
You
no,
would
no,
say,
no, no, not at all, not at all, not
Oh
at
my
all.
good,
God.
But
good.
there were times when I questioned Obama though. There was times when I questioned Obama.
Interesting.
Oh, wait. Let me hear this. Cause see, I was about to let Joanna respond, but go ahead. How you gonna call Obama a narcissist? Okay, cause
Don't
see,
There
talk
were
about the
moments.
black
Joanna,
woman's president,
she like
Haran.
Trump too. So y'all all gonna be against me on this one. But tell
Well,
me,
look, listen. First of all, you have to understand something. In order to be put in that position, a degree of ego and a degree of narcissism has to be apparent. I mean, you the HNIC or the HCIC, depending on who it is. You know what I mean. So, degree of narcissism has to be apparent. Now, his degree of charisma, I rarely saw that on anyone when he would speak back in the days when he was actually campaigning. He was a dangerous orator. Like he could literally put give a master class on
so you think his
actually how to
emotions was
deliver a speech.
you think his
I think
emotions was too controlled in the sense of
absolutely,
he was
absolutely.
too
I think behind
disconnected.
closed. Look, if somebody 10 and 20 years ago said that Obama was actually behind closed doors slapping the shit out of motherfuckers left and right, you know what I mean, when the cameras were off, I probably would have been like, I'm not even shocked. You know what I mean? And he just seemed like anytime the cameras would turn on, everything was too buttoned and pressed. Everything, you know what I mean? Every syllable was hit
I'm
on the mark.
following you. I'm following you
Everything
now.
was hit on the target. There was barely, and I mean, even the family itself. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he had like two black daughters. He had a dark skinned black woman. She was wide hips. He had a big
What
behind. I'm
we
like,
not gonna
come
do
on,
is
man. This is
accuse.
not.
We
I'm
ain't gonna.
like, nah, man. This ain't real, man. This is
No, we not about to accuse this good man, okay, of being no dang on
I
narcissist.
questioned
Okay,
him.
what we not
I
gonna do.
questioned him. But you see, but Tawana, you see, this is where the narcissism comes in because these guys are charismatic.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah,
Right.
want to believe it. You
yeah.
don't want to believe it. So
No,
these dudes are incredible at actually, when they want to, they can actually create a facade. You know
okay.
what I mean? That's like, oh wow, like
So you know
man,
what? I believe that most men are narcissists. I'm sorry. I just
okay.
do. I do. I believe that most of y'all are. So I guess I wouldn't be shocked to hear that Obama was a narcissist. I believe a large percentage of y'all
I
are,
don't
and
I
I don't.
don't I don't I don't think that's what I don't what he described about Obama, I wouldn't call that a narcissist. It might be like a sociopath or something like that.
So
No, 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 he's right. He's right. He's right.
Rochelle said, "Not all are charming. Most
Yeah.
narcissists are not well liked, even if you don't know they are narcissists." That's a
Um,
good point. She says
Jen
no,
said
they're
I'm just
usually
jaded.
no
J-
on the block with Jen said they're usually shiny, charming, infectious person in the room. True. I agree. Yes, Jen. So we did talk about the difference between narcissistic and the actual NPD in the beginning. So there is a difference between actually being a narcissistic and actually being diagnosed with NPD, which some people who are diagnosed, they actually know that they have a problem, like something's causing discomfort in their regular lives. So we talked about that earlier. So y'all go back to the beginning of the video. We did talk about the difference between narcissistic and narcissistic personality disorder. Not Obama, no, full stop. Haran.
I told you.
People are not feeling you talking about
I,
our
I,
boy. Okay,
hey,
we talking about that.
I knew it was gonna hit a nerve. I knew it was gonna hit a nerve.
I love it. I love it though. I'm glad that you said something about like Obama. So now I'm not gonna feel bad for calling the people I want to call narcissists.
Oh
Narcissists.
no, not at all.
No,
Wait,
I
who?
just
Who you gonna call? Who
no,
you
no,
gonna
that's
call?
okay. Because you know what I don't want to do? You know what I don't want to do? I don't want to incorrectly label people. Because see, millennials, let me tell you about millennials. We think we know every damn thing. I think millennials as a whole, we narcissistic because we tend to research. We're highly educated people. We're very technical
Hmm.
people. So we end up finding all these terms and then we will literally label people. We think we know everybody how they are and then we act like we experts and I'm serious. Like millennials and I'm a millennial, so I don't want to bash all millennials, but for the most part, we think we smarter than we are. Like we think we got this. Like we are doctors. All of us are doctors. We ain't go to law school, but we lawyers too. Like this is what we do. This is what we do. So
What is it?
I have a problem with millennials because they're label. Like true story, like my kid, actually I shouldn't talk about that because it's like, his teacher might be watching. So let me not watch. Let me talk.
Yeah.
I'm
You
gonna go,
don't do
no,
that.
no, no, I ain't gonna talk about
Don't make it to the target, please. Don't make him a
it.
target in that classroom.
I should have not said that.
You
Jawana,
go,
what
you gonna have her like putting a couple of more red marks on
listen,
his chest. Talking about,
but
and here's your homework, young man.
what I will say is that I have to stop people from labeling my kid,
Hmm.
or labeling him in general because of one behavior, right? One
Oh yeah,
behavior, they will say, "Oh, well, this person is this." No, calm down. Okay. Did he speak to a therapist? Because you're not a therapist, you're an actual teacher or whatever you are, right? You can't diagnose my kid. So
this is a white woman.
be clear,
She's a white
be
woman.
You
careful.
already know.
She's a white
So
woman.
that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful because people will label your children, and if they don't think that you're involved or you're educated or that you have the knowledge, they will attempt to assign this label
Oh
to your
no,
kid
no, no, no,
and
no,
bring
no, no,
resources.
Tawana, no, Tawana. You ain't know white women know everything.
They know it
You
all.
know,
They know it all.
they should. I should put up a skit called "Ask a White Woman." Ask a white woman because they know everything. Oh yeah, they
Every
know what
damn
your kid
thing.
needs.
So
They know what your kid needs. They know all
M.
that.
Michelle said, what's the age range for millennials? So millennials, what they start at what, 25? What do they start at?
Um,
I think they started about 25 to 40. I'm not sure if it's that
around
young.
that age.
I don't know if that's that young, M. Rochelle, but it's in that range. So maybe 30 to 40, maybe a little bit older.
28 to
I'm on
40.
that. I'm
28.
on that cusp. I'm on that cusp of Gen X and millennials.
Yeah.
I'll be considered a young Gen X or an old millennial.
You
You know what I mean?
okay.
Like,
So you kind of, yeah, you
yeah,
know,
I kind of understand
us
certain things.
millennials, the millennials drive me crazy. They want language. Don't say this to my kid. My kid, this language is this. Oh my God, it's confusing. I don't even want to hang with millennials. I'm like, just give
Well,
me a Gen X or
well. Here's the thing.
higher or baby
Here,
boom,
I
baby
got a baby
here's
boom.
the
boomer
thing. I'll give you.
soul.
I'll give you the reason. I'll give you the reason behind that. The reasoning
Wait,
behind that
wait,
is
wait,
that
wait.
most.
Let Joanna. I know y'all about to. I
Okay,
want to
go ahead.
Joanna
Go ahead,
because
Juana. I'm so sorry, Juana.
I actually
I
have
am
some.
so sorry. I'm
No
over here being a
problem. And I
chatterbox.
actually have some questions that I really want to ask y'all because I really want to talk about some of these things that we can
No,
do to
Kevin
help people.
Samuels is not a narcissist. Go
Yes,
ahead. I'm
he
Oh
sorry.
is.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't diagnose people. But
Nah.
Joanna, go ahead, Joanna. What you got to say about this before I ask y'all these questions that I got for you?
Greetings. First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
We can hear
Can
you.
Yes.
Greetings, ma'am.
the gentleman hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, don't take this the wrong way, Haran.
Oh shit.
Go
Oh
ahead.
my
Here we
god.
go. Here we go.
Like me, you can talk.
Yeah, I can. I can. I'm
Is he a
sorry.
narcissist,
Sometimes I gotta.
Joanna? Is he? No, I'm just saying.
Hey, can I
I,
make a
I've been
revelation about
called. I've
Haran?
been called that. I've been
You
called
Listen,
that.
have?
listen. I'm gonna make a revelation about Haran, and when it comes true, y'all gonna say I said it.
What's
Go
that?
ahead.
Haran is really Vin Rames.
Oh sh.
That's how he sound. Don't he sound like Vin Rames? Just
The
listen. Okay,
brother,
go ahead.
the brother can go. All I can say without being prompted, without asking any questions. He don't even notice you're there. It's the Haran show.
Don't do,
Oh,
don't
Y'all
do,
get
don't
off
do
my
Haran.
dog, man.
Uh-oh. We talking
my
about
apologies.
narcissism
My
and
apologies, ma'am. My apologies. I will
No,
have to
it's
try to
just
control
it's not a condemnation. It's just a observation.
it. Okay, well, thank you.
That
So
okay, go ahead.
so yeah, this it's not a character flaw that you like to talk. I like to talk too. That's why I notice it. See, like notices like.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's not a condemnation. It's just an observation. But hey sis,
hello.
it's
How are
it's a
you?
I'm okay. This is a wonderful conversation because that's the jump off word today. And narcissists. I love the points that you made about the 8 or 9 characteristics. I'd like to add one to that, and that's it's usually an energy of victimhood. I don't know if that was one of the
No,
9 or
that
8.
wasn't. And I said that my list is not exhaustive because, like you said, there's other characteristics that I didn't include.
That's a
Those were
good
just
one, actually.
those were key traits that I saw from the DSM. But victimhood was definitely one of them. Go ahead and explain that because I think that was
Well,
important.
okay. You come home, Tawana, and it's like, whoa, I had a long day at work, and whoa, my coworker, da 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 da, and your narcissist will top that. Well, it can't be as worse as my day. My day was this, that, and the other, and my just completely eliminating, invalidating what you had to say. If you have a fever, they have a flu. It gotta be is whatever you're going through.
They gotta top that shit.
It's gotta be. It's all about the wanting the attention, and so you
Right.
can't out sick them. You can't, if you know, and it's a very annoying, and over time, it's a very debilitating position to be with someone that energy because that means you don't get to be taken care of. You don't get to have a bad day. Their day is always worse.
Yeah,
You
and that's
know,
sad.
yeah, it really is because relationships should be reciprocal in how you get cared for, and it's almost no caring from a person with narcissistic tendencies because they have a strong need to make everything about them. Before you get to your questions, one thing I would like to add to the conversation is that narcissism is really it's like on a spectrum. If there was a timeline, a number line, so to speak, 0 being in the middle, the negative parts of narcissism would go towards the plus side, and as it goes down the opposite number line towards the negative, that's still narcissism, but that goes into codependency. See, there's really not that much difference between the narcissist and the codependent person. They're both participating in a dance with one another. The narcissist can't really have that energy without the codependent um, hitting the ball back towards them, almost like in a tennis match. And the other thing about people with narcissistic characteristics is it's very important to understand that most people have a healthy dose of what we would call or think of as narcissism. For instance, in your 8 points or 9 points that you listed, that's everyone. Everyone has some of that. Everyone does that.
They do.
Everyone lies. Everyone projects. Everyone manipulates a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's why we have to be very careful when we use those words because you have to have a healthy dose of ego and narcissism in order to operate in the world. And so I want to say that. And the last thing I'd like to point out is that although we make fun and we have jokes and things about it. It is very a sad situation. Narcissist people aren't born; they're created by something negative that happened in their childhood, and a lot of things that created the narcissist, serious neglect, serious lack of love from their caregiver, to the point where the narcissist grows up and says, I'm gonna make sure that I'm never treated that way again. I'm gonna make sure that I am never,
Yeah.
that never happens to me again. And the codependent has the same treatment as a child, but they grow up and they say, I'll make sure I'll never treat someone that way again, the way I was treated. And so you have, when you're in a relationship with them, one of them is the codependent because they're trying to ensure that they never treat that someone like the way they were treated. The other person whom we call the narcissist, they're the ones that say, I'm gonna make sure I'm never treated that way again. And so they're feeding off of one another. The codependent is a narcissist as well, but they're on the opposite end of the spectrum, on the extreme end of the spectrum, where they're constantly giving, but they're not giving selfishly, unselfishly. They're giving
In
for
returns for something.
exactly,
Mhm.
and that's all it is. So both are actually narcissists.
You going
One
too
is on
deep
a
now,
different.
Joanna. God, you just getting
One is
deep.
on a. One is on a. Well, thank you, but
Listen,
I'm not
listen,
trying to get.
let me tell you, Joanna, what I don't like though. I don't want people to feel sympathy for these narcissists though. Let me tell you why, because it keeps people enabling them. There's a thing called enabling, and I'm gonna have a conversation. We're gonna actually talk about enablers and people who support narcissists and keep them going, because when we have because we're human, of course we have empathy for people. We try to understand their history and their story, and we really want to connect. But these people, they have no empathy. They don't have the skills to that really give them that human quality that we all have, right? They are very removed from their emotions, and they refuse to acknowledge that they need help. They refuse to acknowledge that they have issues. So we can't have sympathy for people who really won't even seek the help that they need in order to learn how to effectively cope with the traits that they have. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between.
I do know what you're saying, and if you don't mind my interjecting,
Go
I
ahead.
just want to say I understand what you just said. Um, Being an enabler is a serious character um, deficiency. You can go overboard with that, though. You can go overboard, but not to negate anything that you just said. I strive to see people as I want my creator to see me without harming myself. And that's the best way
That's
I
the
try
best.
to
So that without
that I try to
harming
deal.
yourself, without
Yeah, that's the best
harming
way
yourself.
for me to deal with that type of energy. Has anyone on the panel been to therapy, by the way?
Yes,
Anyone? Anyone?
yes,
You
yes.
you
I
have
have.
one?
Hmm.
Have a gentleman
Twice,
been to therapy?
I
Yeah, I
haven't.
have been.
twice,
Two sessions or two
two
times in your
sessions,
life? Two
two
sessions.
sessions. Yeah.
And did you discuss narcissism?
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
we did not.
Okay, so it's why it's so important. Um, Heron, you said you think you could point out a narcissist. Is there anyone on this panel that you would think was a narcissist? If you since you can point them out.
No,
Joanna.
I don't think anyone on
Okay.
this particular panel is a narcissist. Now I've gone around the YouTube streets, as they
Okay,
call them, and I can see a narcissist when I see one, and I can see his minions and her minions. I can see that. You
but
know
you
what I
don't see
mean?
anyone on the panel. But you can detect a narcissist, correct?
Yeah, most of the time I can.
And you don't see one on the panel.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. I'm ready to continue.
Oh wait,
Wait,
wait, hold
Joanna. Wait,
on,
hold
wait,
on.
wait, wait. Do you see
Joanna,
one,
like,
Joanna?
yeah,
Well,
Joanna.
see, the thing about, and that's why I ask if you all have
I will say one thing. I will say
any,
one thing though. I
have
will
you
say
had
one
any?
thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I will say one thing. I don't see, from my point, I don't see that person. Now, in order to see that person, I'd have to look in the mirror. I do have some narcissistic tendencies.
Okay. So one of the things that I would say to that is, see, the reason why it's very difficult to detect, it's usually a one-on-one a relationship. It's
Hmm.
not like you can pick someone out of a crowd and say that's a narcissist, as
No, no,
we
no.
as what I've been witnessing you all doing. Um, See, for the narcissist, the person who's in a relationship with them, to everyone else, that is the kindest. Someone used the word charismatic, most
Hmm.
generous, influential, positively influential person that you can point to. The person only who can only experience the narcissist in a one-on-one relationship, because the narcissist, everyone else around them doesn't see them that way. You don't just like pick out a person and say that they're a narcissist. That's a one-on-one relationship that the
Unless you on a
person,
YouTube panel,
or
so
unless you're
everybody
on a
can see
YouTube
you.
unless you're on a YouTube panel. But usually you have to have a relationship with the person for these.
Hmm.
See, these are character traits for these things to be experienced. It's not something like a television show where you watch and you say, "Oh, that's a comedy, that's a drama, that's a documentary." You have to. It's something you need to experience. And so I don't want to go on too long because I know Tawana has some other areas she wants to touch on.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is usually in on the delusion.
Joanna,
That's
you
what I call
always
it.
be with that mysterious stuff. Every time you
But see, here's the thing though. Usually, if a person is narcissistic, there's a pattern there. So there's other
Hmm.
people that have been affected. There's other people who typically have experienced them in that way. And even if it is a one-on-one relationship, typically what you'll do is you'll find other people who've had to deal with their behaviors, their pattern in some way. So even then, and then a lot of the time I know that they always kind of flip it on them as the victim, but then other people kind of see them as like see the person who's actually experiencing the issues with the narcissist. Like for instance, if me, like me, if somebody's treating me a certain way, if somebody's like manipulating me and doing all these things, and I perceive them to be a narcissist, right? Most times people find me to be the issue because I may call it out, right? Like I may be like, this person is narcissistic. They're doing this to me. They're harassing me. They're threatening me. They're doing all these
Mhm.
crazy things to me. And I believe this person's narcissistic. A lot of people oftentimes will blame the victim. So it's not always just like, oh, I'm a victim and I'm in this situation. It's also the reverse, where
Well, I will say this
people who
too.
call out the behavior is seen as problematic.
We got to be fair too, though. Some people get labeled being a narcissist because the so-called narcissist might be pointing out some truths that's hard for the other person to swallow. So they'll get labeled a narcissist, to avoid the
But who's
dealing with
labeling?
truth.
Who's labeling them though? Because like
Huh?
somebody just telling you the truth is not a narcissist.
Well, some people can't deal with the truth.
Yeah, but a narcissist. So the thing is, yes, some I may be outspoken, right? Freezy, you may be outspoken.
Yeah.
We may be direct with people, but that may be one characteristic that I possess, but I have several others that disqualify me from being a
You got
narcissist.
to have at least five.
So you got to have five. I'm not manipulative. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's other things that so just because I'm
That's
direct,
the
Run
rule.
crazy, man.
listen, I may have a lack of empathy in some cases, right? But overall, I'm empathetic for people. But sometimes,
Yes.
when I need to be direct with you, I'm gonna be direct, and I really don't care how you receive it. So there is instances where lack of empathy comes in, like you
Yeah.
said. We all have to. We all you display some of those characteristics at some point in our lives.
Uh-huh.
But is it pervasive? Do we have multiple characteristics, and do you have more than five? Where it's almost disrupting you from participating in life. It's actually causing harm to your regular
Well,
life.
what makes you think most men have more than five, or at least five?
The studies show that you guys, no, you talking about because I think most men are
Yeah,
narcissistic.
what make you what you said that in order to be a narcissist, you got to have at least five traits. What make you think most men have five traits out of
Listen,
these?
most of y'all are entitled, and then if you so let's go ahead, let's talk about this question, because I mean,
Yeah,
since we're
let's
getting
get to the
into it,
nitty
let
gritty.
me talk. So let's see, do you believe that men in the manosphere show patterns of narcissism?
Mm,
Joanna, talk. I would love to hear everybody's opinion about that. Do you guys believe that the men in the manosphere or the manosphere space, that they show patterns of narcissism?
Yeah, the reinvented rejects. Yeah, yeah, the rejects. Yeah, but it's some real dudes in the manosphere. I ain't gonna just let y'all keep trashing all the manosphere. Nah, golly.
So what? So okay. So you're saying that there's certain behaviors. Tell me, which one of the narcissistic traits do you see predominantly in the manosphere spaces?
Um,
uh,
the need to be
delusions of
admired.
grandeur. Yeah, delusions of grandeur
Yes,
also.
that too.
You know what I
That
mean?
too.
I think that okay, look, I don't when it comes to the manosphere, I think it's the guys who are actually pushing their ideas, their toxic ideas that would, I guess, be labeled, could, be labeled as narcissists. I don't think necessarily the people that follow them, most of them are narcissists. I think that a lot of them are just misguided. A lot of them are just desperate, misguided. And when you are desperate and you're misguided, you are vulnerable. You know what I mean? And, those are the people that are vulnerable to the kind and powerful words of a narcissist. Look, listen, if you really want to break it down, there's some pastors who are narcissists, some successful pastors who are narcissists. You know what I mean? I mean, it takes a hell of an ego to think that only you the only connection to God. you know, that you the only distribution channel.
I'm the direct contact to Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
the
Yeah,
only distribution channel to the higher power. It takes a degree of
that's
ego and
true though.
Oh,
narcissism
that's narcissism.
to
Yeah, for
believe
sure.
that, to believe that, and
That's true.
to do that with like two Rolexes on your arm. You know what I mean? At the same time, while everybody's starving in the pew,
$65
it's
million
a
dollar jet.
man. Look, listen, crazy. But it is what it is. I'm not gonna go down that road. You know what I mean? Because we can sit here and talk forever about that. But there are elements. That is another example of where we allow narcissism to flourish, because in some degree we're benefiting from it. You know what I
Let
mean?
me tell y'all why I know that these men in the manosphere are narcissists.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's get it.
Let me just start with the first and foremost, the key factor, the lack of
Uh-huh.
empathy. These men have a lack of empathy. And let me tell you how I can show you that. There are women, okay, in the YouTube spaces who have been intentionally targeted by these manosphere men. They will criticize their children, criticize their families, criticize their life. They will put them on a poster and throw darts at their heads, say the most destructive, evil, malicious things about people. That is a lack of empathy. I am sorry. Next, the entitlement. So many of these men feel entitled to certain women. Even if it means that the woman is unhappy, unsatisfied in the relationship, or even if they have to get the woman by some like sex tourism weird thing just so she could be submissive. These men want to dominate women. They are entitled. And then let's not talk about their chronic seeking of admiration. They want to be praised for things that they really are not doing. They want recognition for things that they're not really doing. They don't even have no money, but they want a recognition for working whatever they like. They have bad credit. They don't look like shit. They want recognition for stuff that they don't even try to accomplish. Then the tendency to rage. Okay, the men that are they don't have no control over their emotions in the manosphere space. You can say one thing. You can say they can talk about how women are fat, how we single mamas, we destroying the world, and all this other stuff. But you can say one thing about men, like, well, men are, abandoning their families. You a bitch. I'm like, whoa, okay. You just called us fat. You just called us this. And I'm just responding with one alternative to what you said. And they are unrealistic in their response. They display on a regular their inability to manage their emotion.
I've
They
actually
are
seen
in
that, yeah.
fact manipulative. They are definitely gaslighting. They definitely project. These men in the manosphere spaces, they have more than 5 of the 9 characteristics.
But can
Can
but
I ask you
can but
something
can
though?
you tie all of those attributes to one person, or do different people have different? I agree with everything you just said, but is it a case of one person might have like 2 of those, or really big on one? The thing I hate about the manosphere is a lot of women treat the manosphere like it's one dude, one big fat dude, and it's not. You know what
It's
I'm
like
saying?
individuals, and y'all want us to acknowledge the branches.
Well, it's just different people. It's different characteristics, different. That's why I walk carefully. I tiptoe when I say, yeah, I agree with some, a lot of manosphere points, and some I don't. I tiptoe in that because I don't want to get characterized in this manosphere, being this manosphere guy. I don't want to get characterized. I'm just a real ass ninja.
So you're saying like some of the points you can connect with, you understand them, but you don't want to be mapped into the incel movement and
Nah, that's what I'm
the
saying.
whole
See,
entire.
a lot of the
Do you
from
guys Are you guys all aware of like the CIA pretty much investigating incels and this whole entire women being targeted in the
Yeah.
manosphere space?
Nah, I didn't know that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
like
yeah, the FBI,
there's an
yeah, they're
entire
looking.
movement to investigate these
Man,
men who are considered incels who are promoting violence against
see,
women
they crazy. They
or
crazy as hell.
promoting women to be targeted, women to be deleted. And there are um and I don't know if you guys have known, but recent deletions of women, right? If you look at it, if you look at some of the cases that just happened recently, they've been able to connect them to manosphere men, like men in the manosphere. They've been able to connect them as like YouTube watchers watching their content. And then like they've been able to connect deleting women to these spaces. So I don't know if I would want to be associated with that. But if you are, cool. If y'all cool, because y'all know it's a good part to this manosphere or whatever.
Well, this
All
the
I'm
thing. This the
saying
thing to
is,
want to listen. This the thing. Okay, I'm old school, right? So when I listen to some of these talking points that the quote unquote manosphere uh dishes out, I I I come from uh a time where real dudes did real things, even when it came to women.
right,
You
right,
feel what I'm saying?
right.
What we call simp. That's back then we call them simp ass ninjas. I don't want to say, but I'm just saying that
Makers, them. Okay.
you understand what I'm saying? We
Yeah, I know
said that in high school.
right.
So all of this terminology, this stuff is old. This manosphere concept is, you know, to me, I do see some incels, rejects that have adopted real guys that they probably knew in their past talking points.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these incels are very intelligent. They're very smart, very intelligent. They did well in school. They made good grades. They probably was nerds in their past life. So once they're able to, go to the, be able to go to, buy, some Gucci and Versace, they feel like somebody. Once they get a couple of looks, once they walk outside, they're able to get a nice car. You don't have to be a real dude to get a nice car and dress nice. They start getting attention and they start adopting, these talking points that these old heads used to say back in their neighborhoods and stuff. Cause it's real dudes I know represents a lot of these talking points that are not incels.
Well, here's my opinion though. I think white men created the manosphere and black
They
people
probably did.
y'all just borrowed it and
That's why
recreated
I
it.
don't claim that manosphere shit.
But here's the thing. Here's
Well, the
John.
modern manosphere was
Can I
created
address,
by
can I address
white
John
men.
O? Because I'm not sure what you're saying. You're saying, Tawana, do you generalize the manosphere content? And then later he said, name a few of those that you are talking about. Tell me what you're talking about. Because what I'm not gonna do is name no manosphere men on my like I ain't gonna do that. So if that's what you want me to do and give them highlights and bring their attention to my channel, I'm not going to do that. So when I talk about manosphere, I'm just going to say manosphere. And most people who follow me in my content, they know what I mean by that because that's a huge part. But if you want to provide clarity, go ahead and provide clarity to me because I'm not sure what you're saying. What I'm
Okay,
not
but
gonna
listen,
do,
this is what I hate, Tawana. This is what I hate.
we don't do that over here.
You can't like one dude's YouTube channel without being associated with the whole manosphere. Like, okay, like Jen made a comment.
Yeah.
She said I think Jen penned this phrase called no, not that one. It was something about being manosphere light or something like that. Yeah.
This one. Mhm.
Okay, so what is that? What is that? Okay, I like Steph is cold. Am I manosphere light because I like Steph is cold? You understand what I'm saying?
You like him?
Okay, but what if I said
Because he's entertaining.
Oh, wait, here's
the
Freezy.
dude crazy, man.
Here's Freezy. What if I said I like Cynthia G, right? How would you feel, right? Because like
Okay, wait a minute. Wait.
Hold
Can I ask you something, Juana?
Okay.
Juana, can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you something?
Right.
By naming this individual Cynthia.
Right.
Do you think there's elements of narcissism in the women's sphere?
Oh, see you. There you go. There you go for one. God damn.
Hey man, we gonna keep it balanced, right?
Let's get it. Let's go.
Objectively looking.
And Tawana, when you finish, can I get a chance to jump in on your original question?
Yes,
please?
I would love for you to. Yes.
I'm waiting on Jen. Come on, Jen. Come up, Jen.
Speaking, I do not believe that women in the manosphere are narcissists. Let me tell you why.
Of course. Of course.
I'm objectively speaking.
Okay, go ahead.
There may be some entitlement that men feel, right? There may be. But what I found is that their purpose is not necessarily to intentionally harm or target anyone. What their purpose is self-preservation. Like most of the women that I hear, they're like, okay, self-preservation, we're in danger, like we have all these things that we need to be kind of conscious of and thinking about that's going to affect your future and your children's future. And so it's to me, it's not about necessarily being centered on men. It's necessarily, and I think that that's what I find with the manosphere talking points, and a lot of the times is that they're so centered on women and our issues and what we've done wrong. We don't really technically want to center on men's issues. We center on issues that affect women specifically, like being deleted by men, right? Or how marriage, how to select a good spouse for yourself. Why choosing better is a good talking point, right? Like, and so I don't see the narcissism in that, because it's not about you, it's not about us, it's not about my how I feel. That's how I feel. That's why I feel differently about the manosphere talking point. That's just my opinion.
We're gonna get
Okay.
into that.
All right,
Well,
so
got
I
we got
know
to
Joanna.
sit down on that.
we're gonna talk about that a little bit later,
Okay,
but
yeah, let's talk about
I don't
that.
want to.
But let me let
Yeah,
Joanna, let me let her
yeah.
respond, because I know she has a response. Do
Go
you
ahead,
believe,
Mystery J. Go ahead,
Joanna?
Mystery J.
Thank you. Okay. I don't want to belabor the point. I don't want to sound like I'm an authority, but I have to give you just a little bit of pushback.
Oh, no
Again,
problem. Go ahead.
again, the narcissist or an individual with strong narcissistic tendencies or traits or characteristics that you proposed, Tawana. Your question was, do we see any of that in the manosphere?
Yes.
And then you named off some of the negative characteristics that you view in the manosphere.
Yeah.
An individual who has strong negative narcissistic traits or characteristics, you wouldn't be able to say that about them. You have to understand that these are like chameleons. They're very hidden. They wouldn't
Right,
allow themselves to be rude in public, as you
right.
spoke, or berate someone in public. These negative attitudes and characteristics that you're naming are just people who are immature and have bad behavior.
So Joanna,
So,
are you Joanna?
Oh, wait. So you don't think, you don't think
please,
they're
please,
No, I'm asking
please,
you a question.
please,
I'm trying to
please,
level back on what you're
please,
saying.
Let her
Are
finish.
you
please,
Let her
saying
finish.
are
please,
you saying that
Hold on, hold
Please
on,
please,
let her
please,
finish.
hold on.
please,
Let Joanna
please,
finish her point. Just let her finish.
okay, go
please.
ahead. Go
Go
I've
ahead,
been
ahead. Go
Joanna.
listening
ahead.
for 15 minutes without interruption.
You
Please.
will?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how deep you all were going back and forth with one another that you didn't
Okay.
notice that I was there being quiet.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, the narcissist is not going to is not going to be the loudest person in the room. The narcissist is not going to berate you in public. Is not going to shout you down. The narcissist is the person that everybody enjoys. The narcissist is that way to an individual in private. Okay. Um, for instance, you guys may not be old enough, but you still may be aware. Everyone knows history. Jim Jones, the very rhythmic. He was a preacher, Southern preacher, who got all the
Yeah.
people to follow him to Guyana and delete themselves. They were drinking the special potion,
Yeah, we
saying that
know
they
who
were
that
all
is. We know who that is.
I think I've heard
okay.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Those people loved him. Okay, but he, in his own psychotic mind, um, because he felt that he was so grandiose, that his teachings and that what he had to say was righteous, and he convinced a whole bunch of other people to follow him. The person that you dislike the most in public is probably the least narcissistic person. The narcissist is a chameleon. The narcissist blends in. The narcissist is rarely offensive, and that's to anyone. That's why I like whomever said about President Obama. You could kind of see when he would get upset with someone, but he would rarely pounce on them.
Exactly.
He probably did that in private, but his public persona. See, a narcissist is about. They also about protecting their public image. It's all about that. So the people that you're describing in the manosphere who are angry and who overtalk women and who are rude and shout
I
them
don't agree
down
with that, man.
and call them stupid or this that, that's probably the least narcissistic person.
Joanna, I
The person
disagree.
that
I
you
don't
want
agree
to
with
watch
that.
out
I
for,
disagree.
the person you want to watch out for is the person who everybody likes, but who's doing things behind the scenes,
Yeah.
who's doing things behind the scenes,
I
and then
think we
have
getting
everybody, and they have,
sociopath and
and they have,
narcissist is
and they
mixed
have
up.
everybody else fighting about their behavior, but they can't pinpoint what is the negative behavior. Those are the strong points of a narcissist. So to answer your question, is anyone in the manosphere that I would with my naked eye see that they're narcissists? I would have to say no, with the exception of maybe one person. This person was so flamboyant. This person was so charismatic. He was such a pied piper that in the beginning he had everyone following him, and then some of the things that he was doing behind the scenes and showing screenshots and doing all this kind of stuff showed that his negative persona in the background, that person has strong narcissistic characteristics.
Joanna, let me say this though, because a lot of people say this very thing that you're saying, but if you listen to the experts, they will tell you that narcissists are not chameleons the way we think, that you are able to identify them. I think that you have to be trained or you
Yes.
have to be knowledgeable of the traits and characteristics. It's not something that everyone
It
notices.
ain't no mystery.
Sometimes people are delusional in the sense of, and I don't even want to call people delusional, but just maybe not aware of some of the characteristics and behaviors that they exhibit. But you absolutely can, they are predictable. They are people who you can see their behavior and you
Hell
can
yeah.
connect their traits to their behavior, but you have to be trained, you have to be knowledgeable. Most people are not. And so that's why a lot of people believe that they're chameleons. But those men are not chameleons. And on top of that, in the manosphere space, you don't have to have a personal relationship with them. You can have a one-on-one relationship with a person and see patterns of narcissism. And I've had many, okay? Because I've been in this space for 2 years. So ain't no just me seeing them in YouTube. No, no, no. I've had behind the scene conversations with people attacking me, coming into my inbox, calling me names, harassing me, obsessing over me, displaying definitely more than 5 characteristics of a damn narcissist. Okay.
Can I
So
can I levy
please,
back off what you said too?
please believe that there are ways to identify narcissists, and there's so much more information coming out about it. People think that you cannot that they're smarter than you, that they are more strategic, that they're harder to identify, and that's just not true. That's not true. If even if you guys just go watch Dr. Romney, she will tell you like exactly how to identify these behaviors, how to like, you don't even have to be a trained professional, you just have to be knowledgeable of the tendencies that they have and the traits that they have. So I don't want to give people misinformation that they'll never be able to discover these people. And everybody is not a chameleon, because they need validation from others. They love validation, they actually feed on it.
Right.
So a narcissist do not want to stay hidden. Not that, and there are several types.
Right.
There's so many different types. There's malignant narcissists, there's benign narcissists, there's grandiose narcissists, there are covert narcissists. So you could be talking about a specific type of narcissism that, yes, those people do want, their perception means more to them than anything. But there are a combination of traits and behaviors, and every narcissist has different traits and behaviors. And you only have to have 5 to be considered narcissists, but most of them have way more than 5. I mean, that's just the that's the DSM's recommendation to diagnose a person with narcissistic personality disorder. But most people don't get diagnosed because they don't even acknowledge that they have these issues. They don't even acknowledge it. But I don't want, and I mean, I think that we can talk about the different types of narcissists and the behaviors that they tend to have, but we can't say that you can't pick a narcissist, because the ones that I'm talking about are the malignant narcissists. Like, they like attention. They want to be in the forefront. They will humiliate you in front of your mama. They don't care about they don't care. They have no empathy for you in your life. So there are a combination of them. I mean, I think maybe you're talking about like the classic one, like the grandiose narc, who they tend to care about their perception, and they tend to be able to present themselves a certain way, and then in private there's something totally different. But they can only wear their mask for so long. It's, if you know how to point out that behavior, you can see patterns in their conversation, you can see patterns in their behavior. And in corporate environment, I know bosses that are narcissists right now that I could be like, I know that they're fucking, I know that they're narcissists. It's just like, you can tell by some of the behaviors and the patterns that they participate in, and they can't help it. They can't help it. So
Can
I
can
don't know if I agree with that, but
I
go ahead.
just
I want
I
to
just
add to
want to
what.
make
Hold on,
sure that
wait. I want to add to what.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
And
Freezy, because I know
I'm
you've been waiting. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for I wasn't actually trying to butt in on what Joanna was saying earlier. I was actually trying to add to what
Yeah,
she
you
was
was trying
saying.
to ask the question. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to add to what she was to what she was saying, because I kind of understood what she was saying. She was saying that a lot of narcissists try to exclude themselves from any blame, in a
Right.
setting of people or whatnot. They always want to look good. So I understood what she was saying, right? But when she mentioned Jim Jones had a lot of empathy for, people, a lot of his followers and stuff. I don't want to get sociopaths and narcissists misconstrued.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You
And
understand
we
what
don't
I'm
want to
saying?
diagnose nobody, because we ain't professionals either. Because
Right,
like
but we talking
that's
about
different.
narcissism though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We're
Another
just talking about
Um,
narcissistic traits and
I,
stuff.
yeah,
I think we need to take some things into consideration. I think what Joanna's to Joanna's point, in support of her point, I think
yeah,
what she's saying, she does have a strong point, but I believe one of the things that she's referring to is that she's referring to high functioning sociopaths or psychopaths. We
yes,
also have to take
Well,
into
there's different
account, we have to,
grades. There's different
yeah,
grades.
we also have to, we have to take into account, IQ and intellectual acumen, how versed someone might be and cultured someone might be, the tools and the weapons that a particular, person that we're saying right now, they might have, that some low level dude, from the hood, who, who's not necessarily smart but is clever. He's more so on the low functioning end. Not to make sure that we understand this. I'm not saying that IQ correlates with narcissism or sociopathy or psychopathy. Not saying that at all. I mean, you can be a sociopath or a psychopath and a complete idiot. But what I'm saying is that, a person can be extremely intelligent and a psychopath, and very, very, incredible in terms of how to cover their tracks and not be found. The Zodiac, I don't want to say the word, what he was, but the Zodiac serial deleter, we'll
Right.
say, is a prime example of that. I don't believe that he wasn't caught. There are people who, yes, who can live amongst the quote unquote norm, live amongst the normies, live amongst normal society, charismatic. Every time the news shows up and they say that he was such a quiet man, he didn't bother anybody. They find a butt in his in his ice box. You know what I mean? So
Right.
these
Right.
things we have
No,
to keep
that's
in
true.
mind.
That's true. Can I hi Kendall, thank you so much. Dawn, let me read what she says. She says there are varying traits of narcissists. One is arrogant, haughty behavior coupled with rage, frustrated, require excessive admiration, or failing that they wish to be feared or violent. Yeah. I mean, I talked about some of the key traits, and that specifically was from the DSM, and I talked about 9 key traits. And what the DSM recommends is that that person must exhibit at least 5 of those in order to be considered narcissist. However, every doctor and expert have different opinions about that, and trust me, there is no good measure for if a person is a narcissist or not, right? So um there's just a difference between someone who is a narcissist who has not acknowledged that they have an issue, right? Or they don't think they did anything wrong. And then a person who has an actual disorder who really is seeking help to be a better person, right? Or to cope with things differently. So that's just genuinely the difference. But I don't want us to believe that we don't have the power to identify these traits in any individual, because we do. And not all of them are good at masking their behavior and traits. Not all of them are extreme sociopaths or
Yeah.
psychopaths. They don't all have the ability or capability of basically making people believe that they are these charming, courageous, charismatic, caring, supportive people. Like they all don't possess the ability to do that. So there are ways to identify. And when you identify certain traits and behavior, you can get out of the relationship before it starts to affect your life negatively. So we can talk about ways in which you can do that. Please go back and look at the 9 traits. There are 9 traits of narcissistic behavior that you guys should
Tawana,
pay
can I
attention to.
add to another
Yeah.
point that I've learned about a narcissist that wasn't on the list? There's this misconception that narcissistic people will not associate themselves with people that are more important than them in society. A narcissistic person will pedestalize somebody else just to say that they are associated with a very important person. It actually adds to their grandeur. Okay, like let's just say if I was narcissistic and I knew okay, Kanye West. I wouldn't mind pedestalizing Kanye West to you and Haran, name dropping. You know what I'm saying? Saying I know this dude, I've been knowing him for a while, this is my
Right.
colleague. I'm doing this not because, I'm doing this not to um, you know, actually, uh I guess compliment
Glamorize
Kanye
them,
West. Not
glorify
to
them.
compliment Kanye West,
Right.
but to add to my grandeur. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. To
Narcissistic
so
people
you can
will
associate yourself with
exactly.
someone else
Narcissistic
who's
people do that.
hmm.
Yeah.
So let me go to my next question and talk about how would you how do you guys suggest people deal with narcissists? And that could be in a relationship, in social media, at work, in any environment. What do you think people can do to deal with those type of people?
You don't
I'm
put
gonna
the
go
spotlight
ahead,
on them.
Haran.
Go ahead, Haran. That
The,
was a good one.
the, yeah, don't you don't put the spotlight on them. You don't. The spotlight is where they live. That's literally their life's blood. If you do not pay attention to them, then they'll get angry. They'll get angry. They'll get if you notice, and I believe many women can actually attest to this in the chat, and I'm sure you can too, Twana.
Oh
When
yeah.
a woman reaches to a certain point in a relationship, when she's had enough, and she's dealt with and she's dealing with a narcissist, and she's had enough, and she completely shuts down. She leaves this dude on red and DMs, and she no longer gives him that energy. What's the main thing he usually does? Is violent.
Right.
He starts saying, "Oh, you're this, and you're just gonna leave me out here, and I'll kill myself if you don't do this, and blah blah blah." You know what I mean? Oh yeah, no, these things are
Don't say the
real.
K. Don't
I'm
say the
sorry.
K.
Oh, I'm
Don't say
sorry.
the K word.
Delete myself if you do this. Excuse me. You know what I mean? I'll do all these things to myself. I'll hurt myself, and or whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
And they do these things because, like I said, they live in the spotlight. It's about that spotlight being on
Right.
them. If you take that away from them, they'll die off. They'll panic.
That's a great point.
That's a great one. What do you say? What do you say, Freezy? How can what do you suggest that a person do to deal with a narcissist in a relationship?
Just look at them crazy. Let them talk. Look at them crazy. Let them talk.
That's talking about in social media, or are you saying in real life?
Both. Sometimes you just gotta let a fool talk. I mean, cause just using myself as an example, I never feel threatened. I'm very comfortable in my skin. A narcissist can say what they want to say about themselves and about me. I don't give a damn. What separates me from a narcissist is that I'm very comfortable with myself, and I'm comfortable with with my skill level and what I can do. And if I do need to improve myself, I will acknowledge that, and I can take constructive criticism. A narcissist will try to. Narcissists are professionals at trying to tear other people down and build at the same time at the expense of building themselves up. So Haran hit it on the head. Just we give them spotlights by going back and forth with them, arguing with them, making them feel like they are important to argue with. I just look at your ass crazy. I know you lying. You lying. You know
They
what I'm
lying
saying?
for
You lying, man. Come on, man. But on a grander scale, it's if it gets too toxic, just separate yourself. Separate yourself. Sever the relationship. Leave them alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't deal with people like that at all. Just cut them out your life. And somebody like me, I'm very what does it say? I am very empathetic. I am a very caring person, quite the contrary. I am. So, somebody like me, in the past, I used to get sucked into people like that, trying to get them to understand, hey, listen, bro, I understand what you're saying, but you can improve on this area, that area. I'm just trying to help. Trying to help.
Yeah.
But at the same time, while I'm trying to help, they're tearing me down. They telling me, man, you're telling me I ain't shit. I ain't gonna never be shit. Well, damn, dog, I'm just trying to help you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now I ain't shit because I'm trying to help you. Okay, I just got to leave you alone all the way, all together now. Yeah, cause now I'm just looking at you crazy as hell with my moonshine.
You see what they doing though. You already recognize what they doing.
Man, listen. I'm gonna tell you something. What I've learned with this YouTube space, this is their favorite home, cause they got a big audience on YouTube.
A lot of validation.
I think they do the best. I think they do the best on YouTube. I need to get more like them. Haran said it earlier in the show.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Unless you're already a narcissist.
Well, I'm not a narcissist. I was just joking, but I'm just saying, like, they can actually paint this unrealistic, untrue picture and go to sleep without losing an ounce of sleep.
Oh, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? They can tear other people down.
No empathy.
With no guilt, no shame, no nothing. Some people are just built for this shit, And me, that's why in real life, I can't associate myself with nobody like that, because I might, before I know it, I might slap the shit. I'm just saying, like, because
you gonna Will Smith them? You gonna Will Smith them?
Listen, yeah, Big Willie style.
Big Willie style.
That's the
no one.
No, listen, real talk. I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel has encountered a narcissist. Everybody in the chat
Oh yeah,
has encountered one. Yeah, we don't have the skill to diagnose you, but we know who you are.
of course.
Okay, so this is the thing about it. Narcissists, right? I have immediate family that qualify for these traits
Yeah,
that I have completely cut off.
me too.
Okay? So what I'm telling you is it's very imperative that you leave these people alone. Because let me tell you something, the gaslighting part to me is the worst part. Narcissists can cause depression. I'm telling you, they can make you second guess yourself, make you feel less than a man, less than a woman. Man, just leave them alone. Leave them alone.
Joanna,
I
can I
think it's the
hold on, Haran. I do want Joanna to respond because I want to know like how would you suggest people deal with narcissists in a relationship or social media or just at work, anywhere, right? Like if you want to speak to a specific area, how do you suggest people deal with them?
Thank you. I think Heron's and Brother Freezy's points were excellent and correctly on the mark. Because human beings need reciprocal validation from one another. With the narcissist, you will never receive that, and so it'll always be an emotional and mentally and spiritually depraved relationship, which makes it unhealthy for you. So if you find yourself constantly being gaslit, never validated, nothing you ever do is good enough, over criticized, um, being raged at, all those the chronic parts, because, and I say the chronic parts because remember earlier when I said that we all have healthy narcissism. We're talking about when it goes the other way down the spectrum, specifically.
Right, right.
So the best thing to do when you find yourself with a person who has these negative traits on the other end of the spectrum is to, if you can, walk away, or if you're in a particular conversation with them, ignore them. If you're, like, say, we're all on a panel together and one of us is a narcissist showing narcissistic tendencies, try not to include them. Move on from their statements. Give them, starve them of oxygen and of your energy is the most common way to diffuse and rid yourself of a narcissist because they do thrive off of your energy. So
That's good.
that's what I want to add to that so you can get to your next question.
Yes, I agree with everything that everyone says. I want to talk about some of the things that I read, things that you guys can do. What can you do, right, when you're dealing with a narcissist? Um, don't be too surprised about what they do and what they say, right? Familiarize yourself with narcissistic traits and patterns and behaviors so that you won't be disappointed as much when you see the behavior that they engage in. You'll almost anticipate it and understand it. It's so much information out here now that you don't have to be surprised. There's a lot of patterns and behaviors that all narcissistic people exhibit. Okay. And accept that that is what the person is going to be like. That is what they do. Stop trying to change them. Don't even be hopeful that you will change them. They will not change, right? So you have to accept that that is what the person is. Exactly what everyone else says. Don't engage. Okay. Let me tell you what I did that was wrong. I gave away information. Don't tell nobody no information about you. Just don't have superficial conversations with these people, and make sure that you do not share information with people,
Gems and
because
jewels.
they will, even if it's like a simple conversation, they will flip that and make it sound so salacious and terrible and try to paint you into something that you're not. Do not share. Don't do it. Um,
That's the
don't
thing about the
defend.
truth, Tawana.
It is. It's just the truth. Don't
Narcissists.
defend.
So you saying narcissists love information, huh?
They love it because they
No,
like,
what I'm saying is that the thing about the truth is funny is that you don't never need the truth to tell it.
yeah, you don't. And
You just need a
as
little
long
bit
as
of it.
you have fools to listen, it is what it is, right? Okay. Don't defend yourself or attempt to explain yourself. You will just be giving them ammunition to work against you. With that's it. Don't move on to the next conversation. Do not try to defend yourself. Um, and let me say this about gaslighting. Make sure that you learn tools to prevent yourself from being gaslit, because they can only gaslight you if you allow them to. Nobody can gaslight you if you have the tools, you know what they're doing, you recognize that that's what's going on. You will have the best responses when you know that somebody's intentionally gaslighting you. Then you can make fun of it. You can do a lot of things that can prevent you from allowing someone to take you there. Okay. And you need boundaries, right? And that means understanding when you should leave the conversation and situation. And the problem is that I didn't leave my situations in enough time, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. When you do decide to separate,
Right.
separate from that person.
Exactly.
Know when to leave that situation. Create boundaries, and we all make mistakes, right? We all entertain. We all engage. Do not obsess about your interactions with these people, because they want to gaslight you. They want to take you, knock you off your square. They want to make you depressed. They want to humiliate. They want to do these negative things. So do not obsess about that interaction. That's exactly their purpose, right? They feed off of actually doing those things to people. So these are things that you guys can do that really will help you to just like learn how to deal with narcissists. I mean, it just, it's difficult, but those are some things that you can do. The next question though, what do you guys think about the enablers and their role in narcissistic behavior? What do you guys think about that?
Can I speak on that first?
Let's go ahead, Joanna. I would love to.
Okay, I love that part because the narcissist, the person who shows the negative narcissism, they get a bad rap because they can't. And you touched on it when you talked about being gaslit. You can't be gaslit unless you allow it. It likewise, the negative narcissist can't do that to the person unless they are trying to get something as well, unless they're trying to control something as well. And we call them enablers. That's kind of a nice word for it. These people are clinically codependent. They need the narcissist. That's why that's why they attract one another. And so this opposite of the narcissist, whom we perceive as, I say whom we perceive as opposite. This person is the other side of the same coin. They have a need to correct this individual. That's what makes them get sucked into the argument. That's what causes them to be overly defensive of their statement. Oh, you lied about this. No, I didn't lie. No, I didn't lie. And let me prove to you I didn't lie. Or you said you were going to be here at 10 o'clock. Oh, no, I didn't say I was going to be at 10 o'clock. Here, I wrote it down on the sticky note. Do you see the sticky note? And you can show the sticky note to the narcissist. They don't give a damn. But that person will keep trying to show them the sticky note with 10 o'clock pointed on it. This person has a obsessive need to prove something to the other individual instead of, like we all suggest, walk away. That is just as toxic constantly, Shakespeare has a line in one of his plays. It says, "Doth protest too much." You're just as toxic when you're going back and forth with that individual, because see, you're on the other end
That's
of the
true.
negative spectrum when you're doing that. See, and a lot of people, they don't have a place in their experience where they are contributing to the behavior, because it takes two. See, and that's the other part that people don't really want to accept, that your presence is feeding them, and you're having some kind of need to feed it, whether to prove yourself worthy, whether to prove that you are good enough to be in their presence or to have a discussion with them, or whatever it may be. But that person is equally is combative while they're enabling. And see, the thing about them is they get to play the victim. The person with the negative narcissist, they get to also play the victim. Look what you did to me. Look what you did to me. After you keep saying something that I did something to you, I'm like, why didn't you leave? If I kept slapping you upside the head, why didn't you move the next time? You knew I was going to slap you. Now that's where it gets to be codependent.
Thank you, Joanna. I agree with a lot of what she said. But Haran, what do you say about the enablers? Right? Like, what do you say just about how they play a part in the narcissistic behavior?
It's great that this question came up, because I was going to ask you to highlight a particular statement from him versus her solutions.
Okay.
In 2022, can you be successful on social media without having a narcissistic personality?
Mm.
Now, it's great that this comes up, because from my opinion, uh, how do we define really success on social media? You know what I mean? We define success through a degree where, we're talking about big numbers. We're not talking about you got like maybe 4,000 subscribers, or just use the YouTube space, you know what I mean, as an example. We're not even talking about 4,000, 5,000. We're talking about the dudes that's in the millions, you know what I mean, the 5 million, 12 million, and so on and so forth. When you're dealing with those kinds of numbers, that person is no longer themselves. That person is literally a caricature of who they are. They're literally a brand. They're literally a persona that has been cooked, swirled, microwaved, brought out, all that, you know what I mean? And it's being served to a particular demographic. And that demographic, they are hungry for a particular idea. That idea might be toxic. It is what it is. So, yes, in order to reach those certain numbers, toxicity sells. In order to really reach those particular numbers, yeah, what I mean, you have to, the enablers are going to make sure that you reach those numbers, because within them, we have to look at the very ugly truth that I don't think a lot of people really discuss. There are a lot of people out there who envy narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. And the reason why they envy them is because they don't care. There are a lot of people who wish that they had something in them that said, what I mean, I should think about myself more. They wish they were a little bit more selfish. They wish they weren't as nice. And they look at those people with a degree of empathy, and they put them on pedestals, and they say, yeah, this is the kind of person that I wish I would be. And like I said, what I mean, you get enough of those people in a room, you put that kind of character in front of them, they'll come running.
Yeah.
I finished my point.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Freezy. What you think about that? Jen said, are you talking about Black YouTube? I guess she's just getting clarity on what you guys are referring to.
I was going to ask the same thing.
I was just
Jenny.
talking about in general people who enable narcissists, but you guys can
No,
talk
she was
about.
talking. I think she was talking about the question that the him her question that you just brought up.
Oh, the
Yeah,
one.
about
Okay,
YouTube.
when he said the success of people is that you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay, well, go ahead, Jen. If you can give us more clarity, but go ahead, Freezy. What do you think about the enablers and their
If
role?
I don't even know where to start. Listen, if if you are an enabler of a narcissist, you need help, bro. Like you just you worse than an incel. I mean, because your self-esteem is in the toilet. If you enable if you actually enablers of narcissists actually have bought into the narcissist character, they bought into it. And the reason why the enabler has bought into it is because, just like Haran said, they are in desperate need of feeling like somebody. So if this is the way to do it, because let me tell you something, most enablers, they know they'll never be real dudes. They might not ever be real dudes in their lifetime. So in order to achieve at least a perception of being a real dude, I need to look at this lame ass narcissist blueprint, because he's pulling this shit off. The narcissist over here to my left, this dude is actually pulling this bullshit off. So I'm going to follow his blueprint, because it's too late for me to know how to be a real dude. You know what I'm saying? I ain't grow up like that. I don't know how to be a real dude. But this dude, he might be lying. Not might be, he is lying. But guess what? He's making the people believe that he's telling the truth, and I want to be like him.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I want to be like that guy. So guess what? If it means me lying about, how much money I spend every month, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and my positions at in the tech world, and I take frequent trips across the country. We don't know you doing that. You on YouTube.
Right.
This is why I say, let me tell you something. Tawana, I said Jawan. Both of y'all, listen.
Right.
I've announced this. Sooner or later, I'm thinking about starting my own YouTube channel, right? But I don't think I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna be happy with my 2 followers, 2 subscribers. You know why? They don't like real niggas like me. They don't like dudes like me.
It's not entertaining, man.
They don't like me. You know what I'm saying? They like them guys. They like the guys who, I used to check in high school. The guys who
you used to check in high school.
I used to check them guys. Bruh, listen, chill out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Put them in the locker, stuff them in the locker.
I used to check these guys, man.
Like for instance, like everything is about entertainment. Like for instance, I was watching a movie yesterday, and what's so funny about movies is that, especially in fight scenes, if you notice, the fight scenes are so well choreographed and they're so over the top. One person throws a punch, the other guy catches it, they hit him with a combo, you hear, man, that ain't a real fight, man. That's not a real fight. A real fight is somebody grabbing you, trying to literally, kill you, throw you to the ground, delete you, throw you to the ground, so on and so forth, whatever. But that doesn't look great. That's not entertaining to watch. That's not something that would make you say like, yeah, I want to learn Taekwondo. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that's going to pull you in. When you're actually when you actually, are trying to present something to the people of substance, yeah, it's a lot more difficult. It goes down a lot more difficult for them because it's a lot of people just don't sleep well with the truth, man. A lot of
Eh,
people just don't sleep well with the truth.
Haran,
Yeah.
you just made the point I was going to make. I'm gonna tell you something. I did a little research when Tawana let me know what the show was going to be about. I did my own little research, right? There are people that was brave enough to go to therapy and accepted their flaws, accepted, that they might be narcissists or have NPD,
Right.
to an extreme. These people, a lot of these people in these cases, once they accept these, this guilt of being having NPD or being a narcissist, whatever, you have to be delicate with these people because they may go into a severe depression because of the reality that their life is not really all what it's cracked up to be. They might be
Right.
failures in real life, but in order to deal with it, just like an alcoholic, just like a person who's on drugs, when you go to AA or rehab, you have the first thing you have to do is admit that
Man.
your life is not where it needs to be. And guess what? Let other people know this. You have to reveal this to certain people. So people like that, their insecurities run so deep. They may fall into a severe depression. These people have to be monitored. So some people may never even fess up to this shit. Some people might go their whole life being a damn narcissist. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that goes into the person, him, her. I forgot. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong in the
Him
chat.
versus her solutions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that goes to the question. You might be on to something because unless you're in a sensitive in a sensitive space, like, okay, I'm a caregiver. If I did, a YouTube channel about caregiving and all that kind of stuff, because I know all
Right.
about the medical, the medical side with my mom and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that, I can be sincere with that and I can attract sincere people that don't give a damn about my social status. Right? But we talking about this, just like Jen said, are we talking about black men, the black YouTube space, the black manosphere
Oh, I'm gonna
space?
have to do a whole nother show on that because they got the black manosphere. It's a lot to say about that, to dissect it, especially if we want to connect them to narcissism. Like, it's a
That's
lot.
another reason why.
Yeah,
That's another reason why me personally, I don't think my channel would do that well because I'm not just gonna make a channel dragging women all day, man. Like
exactly.
I'm not built for that, man. I'm like, what I mean?
Ain't
I
nobody
actually
got ain't
like
nobody
women.
got time for that. Like,
No,
here's
no.
the thing. Here's the thing. One thing that I do want to just call attention to is that narcissists like to prey on the naive or weak, or who they perceive to be weak, so they need people to feed their egos, to validate them in order to continue, right? If they are starved out, if you ignore them, like, that would drive them insane. And so we tend to, like Kendall said, the negativity, the drama is what sells. It's like, kind of social, not social media, but even reality TV, it's kind of created this culture of, like, glamorizing the drama, right? Or actually gravitating toward the dysfunction, and really wanting to be a part of negativity, toxicity, and really we kind of glamorize a lot of narcissistic traits in these reality TV spaces: the rage, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the superficiality. All of those things are part of it. And then even on social media, we tend to have a lack of empathy for people, and it goes well beyond, like, things that I could even imagine. I mean, there can be a little kid who got hurt, and you can see people saying, like, well, she shouldn't have never did this, or it's like a total disconnect reality on social media. We've created this culture. And so therefore I think a lot of people honestly are attracted to the drama, the negativity, because like you said, they're insecure, their emptiness. But that's the same exact thing that's going on with the narcissist, right? They have those same insecurities and emptiness, but that they don't want people to see. And so they're attracted to each other for different reasons, you know. So the enablers to me are just as problematic, right? Because they are supporting the culture, they're keeping that person powerful, they're really giving that person a voice. So it really is not, to me, I think once you know that that's what's going on, the only thing you can do is stop supporting that and separate yourself and stop aligning with that behavior. And I think collectively people have to do that. So that,
Those were some powerful
yes, Joanna, go ahead.
Those are some powerful points that you all just made when you're talking about what's going on YouTube, and you see who has the numbers and you see who has the views. If you notice that we're four individuals on a panel, we're not over talking one another. We're actually allowing each other to finish their thought process.
That's right.
These
Right.
type of these type of platforms generally don't do as well because there's not the protagonist antagonist type of relationship. It's a reciprocal relationship that we're all entertaining, and those aren't the ones that the enablers and the narcissists tend to be attracted to.
Yes.
Those people that you were speaking of earlier, those people who are supporting them, they're feeding off one another. See,
Yep.
that's why the enabler is just as toxic in a relationship with a narcissist. It's a give and take between them,
Exactly.
exchange. See, and we're not participating in that manner. So therefore, I can't see right now how many people are watching, but there may not be 100 people watching
That's right.
because we're getting along. We're being civilized.
Right.
Right. We're not fighting. I gotta call you out your name, and I guarantee if
But
I
but
do that, I know that people will come, but I refuse to do that. You
what
know what
does
I mean?
that? But
I refuse to do that.
Joanna, what does that say about modern day society?
It
You got
says that modern day society is in the toilet.
because yeah,
And
okay, I'm gonna
And
call
we need
names.
to start, there needs to be a reset. It needs to be flushed down, the bowl clean, sanitized, Clorox, bleached, throw the whole toilet away, buy a new toilet.
I'm
It
I'm
needs to be
I'm gonna tell you.
the
I'm gonna tell you what pissed me off. You got channels, and these some. I don't give a damn. These listen. You got channels like Fresh and Fit, right? Y'all can't look at these guys like Freezy can and say these was some lame ass dudes growing up. Like, okay, they get the liberty to say they don't deal with dark skinned girls. Who gives a fuck? Listen, man, listen, bruh, you ain't. It's the enablers, Tawana, that um allow these guys to do this and say these things. They feel that
the
powerful.
enablers. Yep.
And that's why I say they're just as toxic.
They are.
They're the opposite side. They're the opposite of the same coin. That's why I say we can't get on the narcissist too much because they can't be who they are without the
Without
enabler.
the enablers, that is what I'm saying. And a lot of people don't talk about the enablers. We stay fixated on the actual narcissist and who's doing the work, but we glamorize those narcissistic traits and behaviors in our culture. And sometimes
Exactly.
we actually let the narcissist actually make us think differently about certain situations and things. Like we allow the narcissist to control us, but I'm not going to blame us because I think that a lot of people are just not familiar with the traits and the personality and the things that narcissists do. So part of this is to like make people aware of these behaviors. Go back and watch it if you did not, because there's 9 traits that you can really pay attention to that really will like give you an indicator that you're dealing with someone with narcissistic behaviors and traits, and we also talked about ways in which you can what you can do to improve that relationship or make sure you better prepare yourself. And I want to give everybody their chance to like wrap up and really talk about this, and give everybody a final point of what you want to, what you want to leave people with regarding this issue of dealing with, toxic and narcissistic relationships. And I'll start with you, Miss Joanna.
Thank you. What I like to leave people with is just a little bit of what I was saying earlier. Is that we all have a little bit of healthy narcissism. Narcissism is on a spectrum. On the plus side, as you go towards 10, it gets very negative. Likewise, if you go towards the negative side, that's the enabler, the codependent, who enables the narcissist to be that way. It's a reciprocal relationship. And so it's very difficult to point out the narcissist without looking at yourself and showing how you're enabling that. And how are you enabling that? Like Heron and Breezy said, by giving your attention to it, by feeding that negative energy. The best thing to do is to take your energy away. A way that we can do that on social media or platforms such as this, when you find yourself watching something that's completely toxic and derogatory, is take your attention away, meaning take your support away. And some people say that's choosing sides, but scripture does teach that God wants you to choose a side. Jesus said, "You're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, therefore I spit you out." He wants you to choose a side. He doesn't want you to judge people. But when Jesus stooped down for the adulterous woman, against all the men in the community, when she was committing adultery, he stooped down for her and drew a line in the sand. He wasn't for adultery, but what he's saying is, I do choose a side, because when he forced them all to leave, he asked her, "Do you see anyone accusing you?" And she said, "No, Lord, I do not see anyone accusing me." He said, "Neither do I accuse you. Now go and sin no more." And so when we're in a company of people who we deem as the negative narcissists, we can bear witness to it. Um, but then we have to recognize what we brought to the table, to allow that, to enable that, and take that energy away. And don't do that again. Sin no more. Stop participating in negative platforms. Stop participating in places, spaces where you see other people are being harmed or called out of their names or mistreated. Because when you stand in silence, you're giving your approval of it. And so that's what I like to leave towards people, and understand that the narcissist was not born; it was created out of pain and hate from their negative experience as a child. Likewise, so was the enabler. So we have to give a lot of grace and mercy to these individuals. That does not mean you participate with them in their life. You can take yourself away from them, but let's be careful of how we deal with people, like Jesus dealt with a lot of people.
Thank you. I agree with that. Oh my God, you hit some good points, and I can't wait to wrap up so I can talk about some of them. Thank you, Joanna, so much for just joining the panel. Your perspective was valued and powerful. So I hope people learned a lot about what you said. Um,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, and good night.
no
Good night,
problem.
guys.
Good night,
Good night, Joanna.
Haran. What you got to say? What you want to leave people with?
Okay, yeah, my closing points I like to discuss Freud's theorization of the human psyche, it consisting of the id, ego, and the superego. Before I get into that, just please keep in mind that pretty much the most ego-driven creatures on the planet are children, especially babies. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's all about them because I mean, their overall intention at the end of the day is to make sure that everyone makes sure that they survive. Okay, they can't take care of themselves. You know what I mean? And they're still developing. So it's to be expected. Their behavior is to be expected. Now, to go forward and to explain, the ideas of the id, ego, and the superego. The id is driven by the pleasure principle. It strives from immediate gratification. desires, wants, needs, immediate gratification, no really care about how they get it. They just, the ego just needs to have it. You know what I mean? The id, excuse me, the id just needs to have it. Now the ego, it develops from the id, and it ensures that the impulses of the id can be expressed in a manner that is acceptable in the real world. Now, for instance, I made a joke the other day about my daughter. When she was younger, when she literally said what was on her mind to an adult, and I told the adult and I told him, like, pardon me, she doesn't know how to lie yet. And I was basically saying was that she doesn't understand certain social cues yet. She's a child. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, give her some grace. And the when the ego develops, you understand that yes, there are certain things you can do and there's certain things that you cannot do in the real world. Now, the super ego, it holds essentially internalized moral standards and ideals that we acquire from our parents and society. Essentially what is right and wrong, our sense of moral code and so on and so forth. Now, what we are talking about in terms of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, more often than not, what we often say is that when they really truly show themselves and when they exhibit these behaviors, we say they behave like children. They behave like children. They do not understand empathy. They have no moral code. They have no moral compass, so on and so forth. So what happens is that these people, a lot of times, if you base that on Freud's theories, essentially these people are stuck in arrested development. They're stuck in the space of the id. They've never evolved out of immediate gratification, the pleasure principle, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem, I want to relate that to social media. The problem with that is that what I'm seeing happen in social media is that the id principle is being celebrated. Immediate gratification, immediate, desires, wants, no, care about how this affects others, what lays down the line. It is about getting what you need to get in that moment. And any products and channels that support that idea, they usually grow in popularity. So I will say that, I don't believe that this discussion, albeit a great discussion, I don't think it really, can, ever really fully explain the scope of, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. It's something that you really have to sit down and study yourselves. But study them, study these subjects. Understand how these people move, and hopefully, if you really truly, do that, you'll be okay. And that's the end of my point.
Thank you, Haran. You hit some amazing points.
Yeah, sure did.
Freezy. Yeah, we wrapping up Freezy. But what you think, Freezy? What we gonna lead the people with about narcissism?
Well, first I like to say I disagree with what you said earlier that the manosphere don't have narcissists. Me and Haran ain't get you, but we'll wait till another
Oh,
show. But
so the next show, let's do woman
Okay, yeah,
spirit.
let's do that.
Let's woman
Let's do
spirit
that.
versus manosphere. Which are they
yeah,
narcissists? Okay,
okay.
we'll talk
Okay,
about that.
okay, we'll do that.
Okay, like we're really gonna talk about it because I want to hear how y'all think the woman spirit is narcissist.
I'm locked and loaded. But that's a whole nother show.
I would love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Go ahead, Freezy.
But the interesting thing about narcissism is it doesn't just have one face, one status, right? I mean, a person could be a high class, in a high class status, they could be a narcissist. Person could be middle class, they could be a narcissist. Person could be lower class, they could be a narcissist, right? It's all about searching for a distinct type of credibility. I might be okay. Let's just say I'm wealthy, I'm rich, but I don't have the credibility that uh Jay-Z has. He's known as, he has a street cred too, you know. So, or I don't have a credibility as let's say Andrew, and what's the guy's name? Somebody very intelligent. Let's just say you, Tawana. Let's say you're very intelligent. I don't have the credibility that you have, right? So um I'm going to set myself up. I'm going to make, per se, a credibility for myself by forcing my forcing people to think a certain way about me. You understand what I'm saying? It's all about wanting a certain type of credibility. It's okay, Jen, cam up next week, but
She said she gonna cam up just for you, Crazy. So
oh,
she
she
can go.
okay.
That's what she said.
But yeah, it's they're longing for a certain type of credibility, and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. Lie, cheat. It's all about accumulating a certain amount of power that they feel like they would not get organically, right? Some guys get this type of credibility and power organically just by being who they are. So then you got these lame ass dudes to the side that's you know showing envy, the very envious of these people, and they really want to be like you, but they hate you at the same time. So, in order to either be like you or surpass you, they make up lies, fallacies. And in order to be good at it, because some of these guys are good, they actually start believing their lies. And then that's when the gaslighting comes in. Well, damn, is he really like that? Or because, it's like you start questioning yourself. You understand what I'm saying? But if you just hit yourself across the head a couple of times and wake back up, man, come on, man. The truth is right in front of your eyes. So yeah, like I just wanted to point that out. Narcissism doesn't just have to be a person of a certain status. I've seen, poor people that are narcissists. I have. It's anybody could be a narcissist. It's all about wanting a certain type of credibility, you know. And like, share, and subscribe, man. It's gonna be a long summer. Go ahead.
I love it. Oh my God. You guys, thank you guys so much. Listen, one thing that I learned from my experience with narcissists is that I didn't create boundaries soon enough. Okay. And my boundaries literally should have been like knowing when to leave, knowing when to separate myself. I feel like I've always been in these situations where I see problematic behavior and I always be like, maybe that's not too bad. Or I always make an excuse for the person, or I always see the good in the person, even when they show me that they are demons, right? Yeah, even when I see it. And so I've learned that I have to not engage and not trust everybody in certain spaces. Like it's something that I learned. And if I don't do nothing else in these YouTube spaces, I hope that I teach y'all to not engage with certain people, to not divulge information to certain people, to not just not even be open with certain people in these spaces. And I just hope that if nothing else, you see how humiliating it could be, how embarrassing it can be, how those people, they don't care about how you feel, they don't care about how your family feels, they don't care about the impact that it has on you personally. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you set a boundary for yourself, and you make sure that you show people how much you care about yourself, right? By not engaging, by not interacting, by not participating, and I do that very well. It's not that I don't want to defend myself, support myself, or I don't love myself. Is that I don't want to feed the monster, so they say, right? I don't want to deal with I don't want to feed the ego of a narcissist. I don't want to deal with the impacts of that. And so I'd rather separate myself. I'd rather not engage. And it's all a valuable lesson. Don't be too hard on yourself for engaging with narcissists and not understanding how to deal with them, because it's a learning. Listen, I knew that I was dealing with narcissistic people, but I never put a word to the behavior. Now we understand it. Now we know how to deal with it. Now there's coping mechanisms, there's tools, there's all this information out here. We don't have to move powerless around these narcissists. But one thing that I will say more than anything, do not support those people, do not enable them. Do not, because it is just as bad to enable them as it is to be a narcissist. It really is. And so thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate all of the support that I get from everybody. Kendall, on the block with Jen, Anna, all my people. Like, thank you guys so much for supporting me. Me and Freezy, we're gonna be back next week. We're gonna battle about the manosphere versus the womanosphere, or woman sphere, not womanosphere, but woman sphere, because I want to talk about the differences in both of them, and then when y'all gonna decide which one is a narcissist and which one is not, okay? And Freezy, I'm coming with my videos. I'm coming with everything. I'm gonna show, so Freezy, you better get your stuff together. I want you to come with
Okay.
videos, clips, all this type of stuff.
We're gonna share screen share and
Yes,
everything
we
this week.
sharing screens. We're gonna do all that, but make sure no copyright strikes. So make sure,
Okay, okay,
because
okay.
listen,
Gotcha.
you know how it is. But yes, we're gonna share screens. We're gonna really show the difference between these manosphere and the woman sphere, because there's a clear difference. And y'all gonna be the judge. Y'all gonna tell us who's the narcissist and who isn't. And hence men are more likely to be narcissists. Just FYI. No, but thank you guys so much. Freezy, Haran, Joanna, love y'all so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Haran,
everybody.
Joanna, appreciate y'all,
Do
man.
not forget to
Same here.
like the video.
I appreciate all you guys.
Yes, don't forget to like this video. Hit the subscribe button and also my notification bell so you'll know every time we go live. Okay. And I will see you guys next Sunday.
Peace.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.